Chapter 50. Genius 1, Second Remember if you want to go. Sure, Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. Deep Sea Demon was crazed with rage. You killed Liang Taizu. You actually killed Liang Taizu. I will burn your bones to ashes. The aura of an 8th level golden core wildly erupted. The entire tent was torn apart like paper, and Shinyu was sent flying backwards, blood spurting out from his nose and mouth. The terrifying demonic energy was like a saber cutting into his forehead, tearing open a finger-long wound that revealed the white bone underneath. If it weren't for his powerful demonic body, this strike would have killed him on the spot. His chest tumbled, and he saw stars in front of him. Shinyu roared out loud and shot into the skies. Strong winds howled over him, ripping off his damaged appearance, changing mask. Deep Sea Demon howled, "You cannot escape." Bang! Billowing demonic energy soared into the sky. At this time, the entire demonic path camp had fallen into chaos. Deep Sea Demon's roar had spread out, causing countless people to feel a chill run down their spines. After Liang Taizu's headless corpse was found, the eyes of all the old demons began to burn with cruel flames. In the demonic path's encampment, surrounded by so many powerhouses, the 7 Slaughter Demon sect Saint Sun, a candidate for the demonic path's Saint Monarch position, would be severely punished even with their status. Catch him. Soul extraction and soul refining. Never to reincarnate. Roaring, the old demons chased after them. Jiang Yuanhao fiercely looked up in the direction of the demonic path camp. Over a dozen terrifying auras erupted, all of them releasing a cruel killing intent. Even with his cultivation, he couldn't help but stiffen and feel a chill in his heart. A thought popped up in his mind. Just what did Ning Qin do to anger the demonic path to such a degree? Whoosh, whoosh. A crimson shadow rushed into the sky, followed by a dozen devil flames. Jiang Yuanhao's pupil shrank. He roared out, "Raise the array." Fortunately, he had already prepared for this. A simple protective array formation shot into the skies, and countless golden runes sparkled. In the blink of an eye, the blood shadow passed through the runes. With his Alliance identity card, he naturally wouldn't be blocked by the array formation. Deep Sea Demon punched out his fist. Vast and mighty demonic energy condensed into a tide that crashed into the array formation. The golden runes trembled and collapsed. Cultivators of the Southern Empire, if you dare stop me from killing this man, I will not rest until one of us is dead. An eerie roar resounded throughout the world. Jiang Yunhao laughed coldly. You all charged over, so the Alliance naturally had to face you. Are we in the wrong? Humph! Deep Sea Demon roared. Wait until I kill this little thief, and then I'll deal with you. Bang! Demonic chi erupted and chased after the crimson light. Whoosh! Whoosh! Another dozen streaks of terrifying demonic energy passed through the Alliance camp. Love Go Small say, Netkasoon, the Alliance spies sent back news that Ning Qin had killed Liang Taizu in the Great Tent. The Alliance cultivators were stunned. In the camp of the demonic path, in the Great Tent, he had directly killed Ning Qin. What a brave and fierce warrior. Jiang Yuanhao laughed. The righteous and demonic convocation had come to an end. This matter had been caused by Liang Taizu's provocation, so it was a personal vendetta that wouldn't affect the Alliance. More importantly, it would crush the morale of the demonic cultivators for a second time. The invasion of the Southern Kingdom would probably end here. Ning Qin, as long as you can survive, there will be a place for you in the future of the Southern Empire. Zhu Blue Cloud was all smiles. It seemed that everything was within Ning Qin's grasp. If so, then what was there to worry about? So what if all the demonic path powerhouses came out? They would just be left to eat their dust. So that's what you look like. Hee hee, I have to say that you're a bit handsome, but there is still a gap between you and me. Zhang Qingzu's face stiffened. He felt as if the left side of his mouth had been slapped until it was swollen. He had actually killed Liang Taizu and had even escaped from the demonic path camp. This Ning Qin was simply too monstrous. He suddenly rejoiced that no one else knew what he had said before. Otherwise, it would be too late for regrets if Ning Qin had a rift in his heart. No, he had to pass down strict orders that no one was allowed to mention this matter again. His daughter had good eyesight and good luck. The first man she had taken a liking to was already so outstanding. And the key point was that Ning Qin also liked her. Haha, this was truly wonderful. Zhang Qingzhu turned around, wanting to say something. But he saw that Zhang Zhang had a dazed expression, and the two maids beside her also had similar expressions. This chapter is not finished. Please turn the page. She hurriedly said, What is it? Ning Qin is fine, so you should be happy. Zhang Zhang, why do you look like this? Zhang Zhang didn't speak, but tears began to flow down her cheeks. Daughter, don't cry. Zhang Qingzhu was shocked. He turned and scolded. You too. Tell me, what is the matter with the miss? Qiu gulped. This person, the miss knows him. Zhang Qingzhu's eyes brightened. Are you talking about Ning Qin? I was wondering why he was acting so strangely when he saw Zhang Zhang. So it turns out that you already knew each other. That explains everything. Love at first sight is still rare. This is a good thing, a good thing. This means that he has always liked you. Zhang Zhang's tears flowed down even more. Zhang Qingzhu panicked. Qiu, what is going on? Qiu didn't dare to say anything more. As she thought back to the past, her face paled even further. Master, Ling also knows him. Love go little say, net Ling speak. Gu Ling looked up at the miss. She timidly said, the one who flew past just now was big brother Qin Yu. The little girl was filled with happiness. No wonder she had felt so close to him. It was because Ning Qin was Qin Yu. She thought of Ning Ling, that fairy-like big sister of hers. As she thought of big brother Qin Yu's alias, she was overjoyed. So it turned out that big sister Ning was her big brother's sweetheart. For them to be able to walk together, it was simply too compatible. But soon, Gu Ling was distressed. If big brother Qin Yu liked big sister Ning, then what about big sister Zhang Zhang? Wasn't she too pitiful? The little girl didn't know what happened at the Zhang mansion. She always thought that Zhang Zhang and Qin Yu were good friends. Zhang Qingzhu frowned. Qin Yu, this name was a bit familiar. But he definitely wasn't someone important, otherwise he would have remembered it. Suddenly, his eyes widened and his breathing became heavy. He turned around, his eyes looking as if he wanted to eat someone. Zhang's scalp tingled. Honorable Master, it was him. As if he had been struck in the head, Zhang Qingzhu's field of vision darkened. He swayed several times before standing up. He roared out, Impossible! How could it be him? Zhang Zhang wiped away her tears. Father, don't say anything. It was him. She bit her lips so hard that they nearly bled. She continued to say, When senior apprentice brother Zhang spoke to him, I was in the shadows. I wouldn't be wrong. Zhang Qingzhu's complexion paled. He pointed at his daughter and then at Zhang Zhang and the others. He sighed and said, What did you do? But he had forgotten that not too long ago, he had thought of Qin Yu and was extremely satisfied with Zhang's actions. Don't bully the youth for being poor. Don't laugh at the youth for being bitter. Perhaps only today would the Zhang family truly understand the meaning of these words. Zhang Zhang's tears flowed even more. Her heart was gnawed away by shame and remorse. She had been so cruel and merciless, and yet Qin Yu had still helped her. This left her feeling even more ashamed. Zhang Qingzhu suddenly said, No, that's not right. If Qin Yu can still act like this after you treated him like that, then that means he really does like Zhang Zhang. Perhaps there is still a chance to save him. A glimmer of hope appeared in Zhang Zhang's eyes. Was this really the case? At this time, Zhu Blue Cloud arrived. He swept his eyes around and frowned. He wasn't interested in the Zhang family's matters at all. He directly asked, Which one is Gu Ling? Zhang Qingzhu squeezed out a smile. Brother Zhu, what is this? Zhu Blue Cloud said, I was entrusted by fellow Taoist Ning Qin to bring Gu Ling away. Gu Ling was pleasantly surprised. It's big brother Qin Yu. Zhu Blue Cloud's eyes flashed. He smiled and said, That's right, it's Qin Yu. His appearance, name, and cultivation were all fake. You brat, you are amazing. He warmly smiled. Your big brother Qin Yu has always been good to you. For you, He was willing to accept Liang Taizu's threat and step into the demonic path's encampment alone. But he actually casually killed Liang Taizu. Ha ha ha, how wonderful! Zhang Zhang stiffened. So it was all because of Guling. Qin Yu had always been a proud and arrogant person since he was a child. After being hurt like that, how could he possibly like her again? Qiu, Zhang Hua, and the others all fell silent. Zhu Blue Cloud frowned. What was wrong with these people from the Zhang family? Why were they all acting so strangely? But as he thought about it, he realized that Zhang Zhang had misunderstood Qin Yu for her. Now that she learned the truth, it was indeed embarrassing. Cough. Zhu Blue Cloud's complexion didn't change. Brother Zhang, I want to bring Gu Ling away. Do you have any objections? This chapter is not finished. Please turn to the next page. Zhang Qingzu bitterly shook his head. Brother Zhu, do as you wish. Zhu Blue Cloud nodded with satisfaction. Gu Ling, come with me. Gu Ling revealed a look of reluctance. Zhu Blue Cloud quickly said, Qin Yu is worried that you will be threatened by the demonic path again. Only by leaving with me can I guarantee your safety. Then, Gu Ling could only agree. She had an apologetic expression. Miss, Big Brother Qin Yu, I have to leave. Zhang Zhang squeezed out a smile. Ling, if you see Qin Yu in the future, please pass on my thanks to him. Also, I was wrong in the past, and I hope he can forgive me. After speaking, she couldn't help but run away in tears. Zhu Blue Cloud brought Gu Ling away. Zhang Qingzu irritably sent Qiu away with a miss. He gloomily looked around at everyone and coldly said, I do not wish for any news of this matter to spread out, otherwise I will punish you according to the family law. Zhang Hua and the others hurriedly nodded. Su Wei and Tao Jie stiffened. Their expressions were a mixture of shock, bewilderment, disbelief, and all sorts of other emotions, making them look very strange. After a long time, Tao Jie gulped. Junior apprentice brother Su, he is. Junior apprentice brother Qin Yu? The two of them had outstanding talent, and their background were clear. Not too long ago, they had been taken in as disciples by a wandering golden core cultivator, thus leading to today's scene. Su Wei's lips moved, but he only let out a long sigh. His back was much more stooped than before. He originally thought that with his 3 years of desperately cultivating, he would be able to catch up to Qin Yu sooner or later. But had Qin Yu already become so formidable? Su Wei had a premonition that he would never be able to compare with Qin Yu in this life. He would only be thrown further and further away until he could no longer see Qin Yu's back. Deep Sea Demon crazily galvanized his demonic energy. The speed of a late golden core erupted to the limit. But in the end, he could only watch helplessly on as the blood-red light in front of him grew further and further away until it finally vanished from sight. How hateful! He roared out and punched the mountaintop, his complexion ugly to the extreme. After a moment, demonic path powerhouses arrived one after another. Their faces were pale, and they gasped for breath. They glanced at each other and could see the chaos in each other's hearts. You are a righteous path cultivator. It's fine if you have the demonic treasure corpse sealing nail, but you actually cultivate the #1 escape technique of the demonic path, the blood escape art. Are you a demonic cultivator, or are we demonic cultivators? Who didn't know that the blood escape art was terrifyingly fast and also consumed a terrifying amount of energy? It could burn away all the blood vitality of a golden core cultivator in just a moment. So how could it not work on you? Was there still any justice in this world? A blood-red light howled forth, its speed unimaginable. It stirred up strong winds that pressed down on the treetops and stirred up great waves in the forest. Suddenly, the blood-red light scattered to reveal a black-robed cultivator. He landed on an ancient tree and turned around to make sure he was safe. Then, a smile lit up his pale face. The demon body combined with the blood escape art was truly formidable. Even a late golden core cultivator could escape with all his strength. This cultivator was Qin Yu. He swept his eyes around. Then, he leapt down from the ancient tree. His figure flickered several times, and he vanished deep into the forest. 5 days later, Qin Yu emerged from a cave, his body brimming with blood vitality. The losses from using the blood escape art had been completely restored. After determining his direction, he took a step forwards and shot into the skies. 2 days later, Chinyu appeared outside a large city. The cultivators in the city were all smiles, all of them discussing the great victory of the alliance meeting. Killing Army Breaker in a frontal confrontation and cutting down Liang Taizu in the Demonic Paths camp. These two matters were talked about by countless cultivators. Ningxin's name spread throughout the Southern Empire. It could be foreseen that as long as Qin Yu revealed his identity, he would immediately become the focus of everyone's attention and receive the highest level of reception. In fact, he could even obtain a pivotal position in any sect of the Southern Empire and become an illustrious figure. But he didn't seem to hear any of this. His black robes covered his figure as he soared towards the Alliance station in the city. Merit Department. I have already made a reservation ahead of time. Please help me complete the exchange. Chinyu lightly said from beneath the black robes. An hour later, the black-robed figure turned and left. The cultivators of the Merit Department all stood up to send him off. Before the high-level figures of the Alliance could catch up to him, Chinyu had already left the city. He used the blood escape art and with countless cries of alarm, vanished from everyone's sight. Chapter 51. Genius in a Second. Remember Love Go. This is the web, providing you with wonderful novels to read. Clouds and fog lingered between the mountains, covering the entire mountain valley. But these clouds and fog were like an illusion. No matter how bright the sunlight poured down, it reflected a faint halo of light in the valley's medicinal fields. The medicinal fragrance wafted through the air like a peerless delicacy. Yet it was placed in front of you, and you could eat it just by opening your mouth. This was truly a great test of a chicken's life. The chicken overlord stood next to a medicinal field. Its throat wriggled as it constantly gulped, its face full of confusion. Should I eat it? Or should I eat it? Its small eyes widened and it flapped its wings several times. Just as it was about to assume the posture of a hungry tiger, the fog outside the valley began to tumble. The chicken overlord fiercely turned its head, panic and fear in its eyes. It lifted its claws and lifted its wings, wanting to flee. But in the next moment, it revealed a look of pleasant surprise. In the blink of an eye, it had transformed into a mighty and unyielding appearance. Gwa! With a loud cry, the chicken overlord flapped its wings and flew away, stirring up a gust of wind. It was quite imposing. This could be said to be a bleak wind and cold waters. But once this overlord leaves, I will never return. I am so loyal and devoted. I am so unafraid of death. No one can touch the medicine garden that master left behind. Chinyu walked out from the fog. The first thing he saw was the chicken overlord's loyal and devoted appearance. His lips twitched, and he flicked his sleeves, sending it flying away. Oh, don't ask why. But if a chicken could make such a sound, it had to do so. Its body was sent flying away. It tumbled several times on the ground and lay there, motionless. Its cry was so pitiful and it fell so hard. But why did it still raise its wings to protect its face? It hadn't made any progress at all. Chinyu waved his hand, and the bamboo dragonfly flew into his hand. He sensed that, during the time he was away, nothing had happened in the mountain valley. He filled it with magic power once more, and the bamboo dragonfly flew away. Then, he walked towards the wooden house. The chicken overlord was embarrassed. It struggled internally for 3 seconds, and then jumped up, rushing towards Chinyu's feet and wagging its tail. Didn't you faint? Chicken overlord. I'll endure it. Stop wagging. You aren't a dog. Chicken overlord. I'll endure it. If you're acting, then go all out. You haven't changed your bad habit of protecting your face at all. And your face, is there a need to protect it? Chicken overlord. I'll continue. No, you can mock me, but you can't mock my face. Little Chin, you've gone too far. He raised his head valiantly, and just as he was about to shout to express the anger in his heart, several pills were thrown at his face. Ah, this familiar fragrance, my favorite smell. I'm drunk. What? You said face? What is that? Can it be eaten? The chicken overlord that was holding a bunch of pills had a look of disdain on its face. It looked at Lin Ming as if to say that he was too naive and naive. Then it turned around and bowed to its master, offering up 120% of its flattery. Little Qin? Who said that? Anyway, it wasn't me. If you want to say something, then show me the evidence. This overlord's words are not to be trifled with. Qin, you didn't bother with it. He strode into the wooden house and took out a storage bag. First, he placed the 2,000 gold mulberries on the ground and then took out a jade box. The jade box was 4 fingers wide and the size of a palm. It was blue in color and slightly cool to the touch. After removing the talismans on it, he opened it to reveal a knuckle-long pillar. The root was complete, but it was a bit dark and flashed with faint traces of green lightning. This was the Sky Thunder Bamboo. Qin had spent 2 days hurrying back. The large city he went to was where the Alliance headquarters was located. All of the 100 treasure list treasures were there. Thus, he was able to directly exchange for the Sky Thunder Bamboo. Otherwise, once he revealed himself, he would inevitably fall into a great deal of trouble, and it would be difficult for him to leave. As for the benefits he could obtain after revealing his identity, Qin Yu was well aware of that. But he also knew that he couldn't take it. Otherwise, his identity as an outer court disciple of the Eastern Mountain sect would be exposed sooner or later. At that time, wouldn't it be the same as telling others that there was something fishy about him? He couldn't do anything that sought death. Obtain the heavens. This chapter isn't finished. Please turn the page. The most important thing now was for the Sky Thunder Bamboo to break into the Golden Core realm as soon as possible. With his current strength, once he broke through to the Golden Core realm, he would be able to take another step further. At that time, as long as his nascent soul didn't leave the 100,000 territories of the Southern Empire, he would have nothing to fear. He flipped his hand, and a jade bowl appeared. He placed the Sky Thunder Bamboo within with 1,000 gold mulberry. Looking at the withered Sky Thunder Bamboo, Qin Yu coldly sneered. It had been cut down to the length of a knuckle, and yet it still had the nerve to say that it had grown for 800 years. The crux of the problem was that the Sky Thunder Bamboo was in a withered state. Without a solution, it wouldn't be able to live for too long. If it weren't for the little blue lamp in his hand, he would have long since turned hostile upon seeing the Sky Thunder Bamboo in such a state. Now, he just had to wait for night to fall. Half a year later, Peepa, Qin Yu sat cross-legged beneath the Sky Thunder Bamboo that was half the height of a man. Green lightning submerged his figure. A tingling sensation spread out from his bones, like countless ants biting and crawling on his skin. Although he had experienced this countless times, his body was still tense, and sweat streamed down his body. Faint traces of dark gray mixed with the sweat flowed out from his pores, emitting a faint stench. 2 hours later, the green arcs of lightning scattered. Qin Yu's eyes flashed open. Divine light exploded within them, and deep within them, the phantom of thunder flashed. He stood up and walked into a nearby wooden tub. As he submerged himself in the hot water, he let out a comfortable groan. Leaning against the wooden tub, his breathing gradually calmed down. A tide of exhaustion washed over him, and he fell into a deep sleep. But in just a moment, he opened his eyes, his expression radiant. As he sensed the state of his body, a smile appeared on his face. Every 100 years, the Sky Thunder Bamboo would grow a single section that was less than 4 fingers long. In the second half of the year, the little blue lamp would grow 15 sections, roughly 1 section every 12 days. Every day, the Sky Thunder Bamboo would grow at an accelerated rate of 8 years. If this Sky Thunder Bamboo was 800 years old, then it was now 2,300 years old. From this, it could be seen that the little blue lamp's speed of growth for spirit plants wasn't the same. Depending on the species, the speed would vary. At the very least, when it came to accelerating the growth of the Sky Thunder Bamboo, it was far faster than ordinary spirit plants. In the current cultivation world, spirit plants that were over 1,000 years old could be called priceless treasures. As for those that were over 2,000 years old, that was something that only large sects with great inheritances could possess. As for the Sky Thunder Bamboo, It was worthy of its reputation as an ancient spirit plant. The power of thunder it released had an astonishing effect on cleansing the body. You could clearly feel that the remaining medicinal efficacy in his body was decreasing. But this wasn't enough. At this time, his body was like a wooden tub filled to the brim with water. Any more, and he might explode. You couldn't take any more risks. He had to break through to golden core in a single attempt. Luckily, as it grew older, the power of thunder released by the sky thunder bamboo would become increasingly strong. It wouldn't take too much time to completely eliminate the remaining medicinal efficacy in his body. In the blink of an eye, another half a year passed. With a deep roar of pain, the last bit of medicinal efficacy in Yu's body was eliminated by the thunder. The rich green lightning scattered to reveal his distressed figure. Sweat soaked through his white inner clothes, and a faint black stench assailed the nostrils. Beside him, the sky thunder bamboo was already as tall as a person. Its branches and leaves were lush and vibrant, with green arcs of electricity leaping around it. Fluctuations of thunder that caused one's heart to tremble. According to a normal calculation, it was nearly 5,000 years old. If this sky thunder bamboo were converted into spirit stones, it would be worth no less than 1 million. This was enough to cause a large sect to fight over it. But at this time, no longer had any thoughts about the sky thunder bamboo. The medicinal efficacy had been completely eliminated, and his breakthrough to golden core was imminent. 100 miles away from the mountain valley, in a hidden mountain stream, Yu formed lost seals with his hands. The great array formation laid down by the array disk was activated. The invisible aura of the array formation blocked out this area, preventing the outside world from sensing it. Today, he would break through foundation establishment and reach golden core here. With a flick of his sleeves, 30,000 spirit stones scattered around him, forming 6 small spirit stone mountains. Yu sat down on one of them and swallowed several essence-augmenting pills. A powerful medicinal efficacy rapidly spread through his body, supplementing his losses. When breaking into golden core, he needed to absorb a massive amount of spiritual strength in a short period of time. This was where these spirit stones would come in handy. Suddenly, because Yu was intentionally suppressing his energy within his Dantian Sea. If this chapter isn't finished, please turn the page. The great Tao base that had been in a quiet state suddenly erupted with light. Countless beams of light gathered at the center, as if a great sun was about to rise. Multicolored clouds illuminated the world, so dazzling that one couldn't look directly at them. Yu's body trembled and blood vessels bulged out beneath his skin. The impact of magic power had already begun. After failing to make 17 breakthroughs and purifying his magic power, it was more than enough to smoothly form his golden core. This was what happened. The great Tao base trembled, and a dazzling brilliance shot into the heavens from the center. This was the light of a golden core. Yu's aura suddenly changed, becoming dignified and dignified. An invisible suction force erupted, and the 30,000 spirit stones trembled. Boundless spiritual strength surged out, howling into Yu's body like a broken dam. At this time, the great Tao base in his Dantian Sea suddenly trembled. An invisible strength arrived, forcefully breaking apart the golden core he was about to condense. Bang! Magic power stormed out. Yu's eyes flashed open. The flesh and blood on the surface of his body began to crack apart. Countless cracks appeared all over his body, and blood gushed out like fountains. The ground shook and collapsed. 30,000 spirit stones howled into the air. The arrayed discs they laid down wailed as they were crushed by the terrifying aura. A low and deep explosion rang out like a thunderclap, spreading out from deep within a mountain forest. Yu fell backwards, as if he were being fried. Even someone as powerful as the demon body couldn't withstand such a horrifying magic power backlash when his golden core was about to form. It completely collapsed. Why did he fail? This was the first thought that crossed his mind. His second thought was that he couldn't stay here any longer. Qin Yu struggled to stand up. This simple movement caused his field of vision to darken. If it weren't for his firm, well, he would have fainted already. He took out several pills and swallowed them down. Ignoring the 30,000 spirit stones, he staggered away. His breathing became increasingly heavy, and his collapsing mortal body gradually turned cold. Qin Yu didn't know how far he had gone, but he knew that his time was up. He leaned against a stone, and his body slid to the ground. He struggled to find a comfortable posture and then fell silent. Everything had gone according to plan, and he had been careful enough. So why had he failed and even lost his life? Qin Yu frowned. He couldn't understand. If he were to die like this, he really wouldn't be willing. The sound of footsteps echoed out. They were light and belonged to a woman. Qin Yu didn't look up. He was still searching for an answer in his heart. The person who came spoke. Her voice was pleasant to the ears, like an aureole. It really was a woman. You can't figure out why you failed, right? Qin Yu looked up. Another wound had opened up on his neck, revealing bright red flesh and blood. But he didn't seem to feel it at all. You know, his vocal cords were damaged and his voice was hoarse, but it was surprisingly calm. The woman's eyebrows arched up. She smiled. You're calmer than I thought. Qin Yu said, That's because I know I'm going to die. So what else is there to worry about? I'm not lying to you. I really am going to die soon. So, if you want to tell me the truth, you better hurry up, otherwise it will be too late. The woman walked to his side and traced Qin Yu's face with her fingers. Then, she placed the blood-stained finger into her mouth and her eyebrows relaxed, revealing an intoxicated expression. It really is the taste of the demon body. Qin Yu frowned. I don't care what sort of treatment I receive after I die, but can you wait until I close my eyes before we begin? Are you afraid? Just disgusting. The woman had an amused expression. Have you eaten human flesh before? Qin Yu was silent for several breaths of time. I've only seen it before. With a charming laugh, the woman gently stroked his face. She whispered, Don't worry. How could I bear to let you die? Her nails cut in her white palm, and purple blood flowed into the wound. A burning hot feeling spread out, as if countless soldering irons were forcefully welding together the damaged parts of his body. Qin Yu didn't say a word. He simply fainted. The woman was stunned for a moment before she smiled. What an interesting fellow. Chapter 52. Genius 1, second remember if you want to go. Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. Faintly, Qin Yu could feel that someone was taking care of him. As soon as the food he drank fell into his stomach, it turned into a billowing, burning sensation. Then, his barely condensed consciousness was smashed to pieces by the wild pain. He didn't know how much time passed. 1 day, 2 days, 1 year, 2 years. When Qin Yu finally exhausted all of his strength to open his eyes, the light of the setting sun sprinkled through the window. The faint yellow light illuminated a messy dress, and then the smooth and perfect back of the woman next to him. She was leaning against the wooden barrel as if she had fallen asleep. But just as Qin Yu's gaze fell upon her, the woman opened her eyes. Whoosh, waves of water washed over his face. Qin Yu closed his eyes and opened them again. She was neatly dressed and standing at the edge of the bed. Beads of water dripped down her long hair. She smiled and said, Do I look good? The voice was pleasant to hear and the scene was tempting, but Qin Yu's heart was icy cold. He shook his head, his bones crackling. The woman narrowed her eyes, as if to see if he was lying. Finally, she snorted and stood up straight. She was very tall and had a devilish figure, so this bathing picture became even more eye-catching. Qin Yu closed his eyes. A light chuckle sounded in his ears. The woman said, It seems that you aren't as bold as you appear. Qin Yu said, Thank you, miss, for saving me, but I don't think we know each other. The woman's eyes were playful. Is that so? But why do I feel like you've already recognized me? Qin Yu simply shook his head. It doesn't matter if you don't want to admit it. I've never forgotten you, the man who injured me back then. Now, open your eyes. Qin Yu thought for a moment and couldn't refuse. He looked at the familiar face and helplessly shook his head. So, it's Miss Yu Qi. Indeed, enemies are bound to meet in this world. Yu Qi covered her mouth and laughed. The road isn't narrow. Big Sister already had my eyes on you during the righteous and demonic convocation, but you ran too fast. It took me a great deal of effort to find you. It was when you failed your breakthrough and nearly blew yourself up. Yu bitterly smiled. There is no need to rub salt into someone's wounds. Your wounds haven't healed yet, so how could there be scars? Chi's eyes flashed. Big Sister is really curious. Just how did you manage to cultivate the demon body? Yu said, if I said it was a coincidence, would Miss believe me? Chi chuckled. I do. Because besides some dogshit luck, I can't think of anyone who can cultivate the demon body in this place. Yu thought for a moment. Miss not killing me is related to the demon body? Chi winked at him. Little brother is so smart. Why? I'll tell you when I'm better. Miss Chi, aren't you afraid that I'll harm you after I recover? Chi's eyes turned cold. Little brother, aren't you afraid that your words will bring about a fatal disaster? Yu shook his head. If the miss wanted to kill me, she would have already done so. Hee hee, I can't scare you. How boring. Chi smiled. Rest well. Since Big Sister saved you, I'm not afraid of any backlash, unless you never want to condense a golden core again in your life. Yu's complexion changed. Chi revealed a proud look on her face and turned to leave. Wait, is there anything else, little man? Although I'm very honored to bathe in your bathwater, considering that you are at a great disadvantage in this matter. Please help me dry it. Chi's body stiffened. She clenched her teeth and turned around. Do you really want me to wipe it? Her voice was soft and beautiful, her face blushing red and her eyes glistening with tears. Yu smiled. I'll dry it now. Humph. Chi turned and left. After a while, the bamboo dragonfly flew into the window. After determining that she had truly left, Yu collapsed onto the bed. He gasped for breath several times, beads of sweat covering his forehead. It seemed that Chi wouldn't kill him for the time being. That was enough. His mind relaxed, and Yu fell into a deep sleep. Space outside the wooden cabin fluctuated and Chi's figure walked out. She lifted a hand and caught the bamboo dragonfly, a smile on her face. What a cautious little fellow. But in front of Big Sister, you are still too tender. She swept her eyes over the lush and verdant medicine fields. Seclusion? Her eyes flashed for a moment before she composed herself. Yu woke up once more. When he opened his eyes, he saw Chi's pale face. Purple blood flowed from her fingertips into his mouth. His stomach felt like it was on fire, but his limbs and bones were actually warm and comfortable. Chi had a languid expression. How do you feel? Yu finally knew what he had been drinking when he was unconscious. A complex light flashed in his eyes. He smiled. Much better. Their tongues touched fingertips. Faint traces of electricity spread out and the two of them stiffened. Chi drew back her finger. Demonic light flashed and the wound healed. She calmly said, in order to save you, Big Sister suffered a great loss. You must remember this. Yu said in a low voice, the debt of saving my life is heavier than a mountain. If Miss asks, I will do my best. You can even commit arson? I won't tease you anymore. If it were that simple, Big Sister would have solved it myself. There would have been no need to go through so much trouble. Yu coughed. Miss Chi, what do you want me to do? Chi lazily looked at him. Are you that curious? Forget it. It doesn't matter if I tell you. Big Sister wants to go somewhere, and the demon body is the key. As long as you help me take what I want from there, Big Sister will tell you how to break into Golden Core. Yu had a solemn expression. Is Miss speaking the truth? Chi said, of course, Big Sister wouldn't lie to you. She stood up. I'm tired, so I'm going to sleep. You can continue resting. Oh, this bamboo dragonfly is for you. This Big Sister likes to sleep naked, so don't peep on me. Yu, he didn't know what status Chi had, but to Yu, her blood was the best medicine in the world. His collapsed demon body gradually regained its vitality and began to recover at an astonishing speed. With such serious injuries, even if others managed to preserve their lives, they would still be bettered in for the rest of their lives. But in a short month, Yu was able to leave his bed and walk. Half a year later, his injuries were nearly healed. Creak. Chinyu pushed open the door and stepped out. Bathed in the sunlight that he hadn't seen in a long time, he stretched his waist. His bones crackled and popped as he exhaled. Within his chest, his heartbeat was strong and forceful, pushing blood to flow through his entire body. Every inch of his flesh and blood contained an explosive strength. Break and rebuild. At this time, the demon body was nearly twice as powerful as it was before. Yuchi gently sighed. You obtained a blessing in disguise. This big sister's strength has been greatly damaged. This wasn't a lie. Perhaps because she had lost too much blood, her complexion was pale and her aura was a bit shaky. Chinyu bitterly smiled. This sort of blessing in disguise is something I don't want to experience a second time. Hee, then obediently helped Big Sister. Once I accomplish my wish, you'll be able to break into Golden Core, and you won't have this sort of trouble in the future. Chinyu nodded. When do we leave? There's no hurry. There's still 3 months. Chinyu said, That's also good. Miss Yuchi, can you return my storage back to me now? Yuchi said in a low voice, I'm sorry, Big Sister forgot. But the smile on your face is far too insincere. Several storage bags were tossed over. Yuchi's voice was gloomy. I never thought that little brother would be so rich. But why is it that everything inside belongs to demonic path cultivators? Chinyu shook his head. If they want to kill me, what can I do? Yuchi coldly sneered. Can you be any more shameless? Demonic paths, evil star. The last 4 words were clearly emphasized. Chinyu shrugged, as if he didn't know what she was talking about. He stepped forwards and shot into the skies. I have a pet I'm raising. I don't know how it is doing, but I'll go take a look first. I'll be back soon. Yuchi clenched her teeth and stamped her feet. She didn't know why, but she always suffered losses in front of Chinyu. This bastard, if it weren't for this old lady, would have taught you a lesson. As it flapped its wings, no matter how one looked at it, it seemed impatient and impatient. That's true. To suddenly become an ascetic monk from night to night, no one would be able to take it. Chinyu put away the storage bag. After sweeping his eyes around to make sure he didn't leave behind any traces, he soared into the skies. For an entire month, Yuchi's face was cold and her aura was unfriendly. Perhaps there was a kind of embarrassment and resentment in her heart, as if she had been hunting geese all year round, only to be pecked in the eyes by chickens. Chinyu happily closed the door to his room and cultivated. After the demon body was broken and rebuilt, it had become twice as powerful and could withstand even more magic power. Although the taste of his body exploding was unforgettable, he still decided to continue cultivating. Perhaps this was what it meant to know that there was a tiger on the mountain, but one would still walk towards it. Of course, in Yuchi's eyes, he was a typical example of someone who didn't know how to write the word death. Chapter 53. Genius 1, second remember if you want to go. Shoa, Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. The sky was hazy. Even though it was a clear day, there was still a gloomy atmosphere. The land was barren, and not a single blade of grass grew. Strong winds howled, stirring up dust and sand. The sounds of sobbing filled the air, and when one's vision became blurry, a chill seeped out from the depths of one's heart. Love, go small, say, net kawoosh, whoosh. 2 beams of light landed on the top of the low mountain one after the other. When the light faded, the 2 figures were revealed. The young man was tall and had an imposing appearance, while the woman was tall and charming, with a hot body. These 2 people were Chinyu and Yuchi. It had already been 14 days since they left the mountain valley, and they had crossed tens of thousands of miles to enter the territory of the Northern Dynasty. Yuchi took out a compass. It was a mixture of black and red, as if it was dyed with blood. She lowered her head and looked at it carefully for a while. Then, she put it away and said, We will arrive in another day. Yu's eyes flashed. Miss, can you tell me where we are going today? Yuchi's eyes were filled with grief. Little man, you really don't trust me. Yu remained unmoved. Trust is built on a foundation of honesty. Yuchi began to weep. You are so magnanimous to me. Not long after the storage bag incident, there was a change in the Sky Thunder bamboo. Qin Yu had forcefully refused Yu Qi's approach. Thus, she bore a deep grudge against him. Qin Yu remained expressionless. My refusal is a private matter, completely different from Miss Yu Qi's concealment. How could the two be mentioned in the same breath? He paused for a moment and then faintly said, "If Miss continues to refuse, I can only apologize and withdraw from this matter." Yu Qi's complexion changed. She could feel the decisiveness in his words. She clenched her teeth. "You are ruthless." The place she wanted to go was called the Land of Sealed Demons. It had nothing to do with righteous path cultivators, but was a place where the demonic path sealed away demonic cultivators. In any force, there would be those that were not accepted or those that were detested. The demonic path was no exception. Of course, those that had the qualifications to be exiled into the land of sealed demons were all extremely powerful demons. How could the weak have the qualifications to be so insolent? They would have long since been killed to bits. Yu Qi wanted to find something in the land of sealed demons. As for what it was, she didn't say, and he certainly wouldn't ask. Now that you know everything, you don't have any objections, right? Yu Qi bitterly said. Just now, she had been gnashing her teeth in hatred, and now she had this sort of appearance. She was a demoness, and this was just too appropriate. Qin Yu bluntly said, "I have an opinion. As you said, the land of sealed demons is a land where the demonic path suppresses all demons. Although you've played it down, the strength of the demons inside should be terrifying, right? If the two of us go in, I'm afraid it'll be very difficult to come out alive." Yu Qi's face was calm. Her charming allure was completely swept away, and she actually emitted a tranquil and indifferent aura. Of course there is danger, but it isn't as terrifying as you think. They have already been sealed for many years. Even if they don't die, their cultivation will be greatly reduced. Moreover, the seal of the land of sealed demons is suppressing them. As long as you and I don't look for trouble to open the seal for them, there shouldn't be any problems. Qin Yu fell silent. Yu Qi sighed softly. "Little man, you are really greedy." "Forget it. Big sister will be honest with you." There seemed to be something wrong with those words. The root cause of your failure in breaking into the golden core realm lies in cultivating the demon body. It is a very tyrannical body transformation method that does not allow any other strength to surpass it. Thus, you need to evolve the demon body first in order to increase your magic power and reach golden core. To evolve the demon body, you need to swallow powerful demon blood. Since you have successfully cultivated it, you should know just how important demon blood is to the demon body. You should be able to tell whether or not I'm right. Yu Qi smiled. And the land of sealed demons is the only place in the world that meets the requirements for demon blood. Do you want to go? Qin Yu's eyes shined. After a long time, he nodded. "I understand." He closed his eyes and began to meditate. Yu Qi's eyes flashed. She didn't speak further. 2 hours later, the two shot into the skies, flying deep into the barren lands. To the north of the Southern Empire was the Northern Dynasty. It was 3 times the size of the Southern Empire, but its population was less than half that of the Southern Empire. This was because the Southern Empire was a vast expanse of barren lands. According to the legends, the barren lands were cursed in ancient times and their vitality gradually severed. Although there was no evidence, it was an indisputable fact that for countless years, anyone who stepped into the barren lands would often die a violent death. Over time, there were very few people left. At this time, Yu Qi and Qin Yu were deep within the largest barren lands of the Northern Dynasty. The blazing sun hung high above their heads, but they couldn't feel any heat at all. The cold air in the air was so cold that it nearly froze one's blood. Without warning, the earth violently trembled. A crack tore through the earth, rudely rushing into their field of vision. A faint black energy overflowed from it, mixing with an icy chill that caused icicles to form in the void. In the blink of an eye, snow began to fall from the skies. The snowflakes were black. Qin Yu's complexion changed. Even with his current strength, he actually felt threatened by the chill contained within the snowflakes. Yu Qi's eyes brightened. She turned her hand and took out 2 tokens. They were ancient and mottled, and their aura was similar to the compass she had played with before. This is a guardian token. With this, you can enter the land of sealed demons for the first time. Do not leave it. Chinyu received it. A cold aura entered his body, and his mind became clear. He looked at the black snowflakes again without any fear. Yuchi flicked her sleeves, and a purple vine appeared from the demonic energy. It stretched out like a living person and began to speak. I can finally come out to get some fresh air. Miss, how about we discuss it, and let me come out more in the future? Although I am a demon vine, I also have the right to pursue a better quality of life. Yuchi's eyes narrowed, a dangerous light surging in them. Little demon vine, what did you say? I didn't hear you. Can you say it again? Puff, the demon vine's 5 limbs. No, it was many limbs that fell to the ground. Its body was far too large, and there was a dull, thumping sound as it spoke in a flattering voice. Miss, you are as beautiful as a flower and as beautiful as a moon. You are as beautiful as an immortal. You have the bearing of an immortal. Your looks are unparalleled. Your twin peaks are proud. Shut up. Yuchi breathlessly shouted. Chinyu's lips twitched. The demon vine had a confused expression, as if it couldn't figure out why a method that had worked so many times didn't work this time. It looked at Chinyu and blinked its eyes, as if it were suddenly enlightened. This stab was simply chilling to the heart. In any case, Yuchi's face was flushed red. Suddenly, the demon vine sucked in a deep breath, panic-stricken. Miss, it is his aura. Shut up. Yuchi slapped Emo tongue and sent him flying. She probably had the heart to eat him. The demon vine's body drew a beautiful arc in the air as it tumbled to the ground. But why are you protecting your face? Chinyu's complexion became even stranger. Yuchi saw this, and her face was so red it seemed as if it would bleed. If you dare to speak another word of nonsense, I will punish you by not coming out for 10 years. Don't. This pitiful cry was absolutely perfect. It was filled with sorrow, pleading, and hesitation. This was a series of emotions that would make someone in a superior position feel satisfied. Compared to this demon vine, the chicken overlord was at most similar in appearance. It was far from being able to compare. Miss, I know I was wrong. I will definitely listen to you in the future. Please be magnanimous. The demon vine flew forwards to admit his mistakes. But why are you blinking at me? Roll out and scout the way. Understood. It really rolled out. Chinyu's face was tense, not saying a single word. Yuchi's face was icy cold. If you want to laugh, then laugh. Chinyu frowned. Is this okay? Yuchi wanted to bite him. What sort of answer was this? What was the meaning of this? Just as she was about to erupt with rage, Chinyu looked away. He earnestly said, Is the land of sealed demons beneath the crack? Yuchi's complexion paled. She coldly snorted and gave up. The demon vine rolled to the side of the crack. The snowflakes that fell on its body bounced off, unable to cause any damage. It turned its head and winked at Chinyu a few times before stretching its tentacles into the crack. Suddenly, the demon vine's eyes widened and it screamed out in pain. Its body violently shook like a sieve, as if it would collapse at any moment. Chinyu's heart shrank. He glanced at Yuchi from the corner of his eye. Her face was cold and expressionless. With a thought, he calmly stood where he was. After a long time, the demon vine rolled back, its face filled with hidden bitterness. There was simply no one else like it. Yuchi reached out a hand, demonic energy lingering around her. If there's no problem, then roll back. The demon vine shrank its head. It jumped up and its body rapidly shrank, submerging into the demonic energy and vanishing from sight. Chinyu's eyes flashed. This time he could clearly see that the demon vine hadn't been put into a storage bag. Rather, it seemed to have directly fused into her body. Let's go. Yuchi flew into the crack. Chinyu took a deep breath. He stepped forwards and jumped in. The crack was extremely deep. In several breaths of time, they had sunk 1,000 feet, but they still hadn't reached the end. Yuchi flicked her sleeves. Demonic energy condensed into black clouds that supported the two of them. Chinyu's eyes widened. He thought back to 3 years ago, when there was another girl who had carried him like this. Yuchi sensed his absent-mindedness. Her lips curved up in a smile. Are you thinking of that damn girl from the Ning family? Chinyu frowned. He turned around. I don't know what sort of grudge you have with senior apprentice sister, but she has already passed away. I hope you can show some respect. Yuchi's eyebrows shot up, anger burning in her heart. What a good Chinyu. You haven't been angry with me for over half a year, but because of this little hussy, you actually want to get angry with me. Something doesn't seem right. Passed away? Who passed away? Could it be a strange expression flashed on her face? When did this happen? How come I didn't know about it? Chinyu faintly said, 3 years ago. Yuchi's anger dissipated. She honestly nodded. All right, I'll give you some face. I won't mention it in the future. She turned around and nearly burst into laughter. Who told you to be angry with me? Go and grieve yourself. I'll pretend like I don't know anything. Chinyu was surprised. He didn't think she would be so easy to talk to. After a moment of hesitation, he cupped his hands together and said, Thank you, Miss Yuchi. Yuchi, my stomach hurts. She quickly changed the topic. Be careful, we're almost there. Chinyu looked up. The crack in the earth had reached its end, and the light above their heads had turned into a thin line. It was unknown just how deep they went. Shwa. The demonic clouds scattered, and the two of them landed on solid ground. A cave appeared in front of them. There was no aura coming out from it, but it was pitch black, like the deepest night in the world. Yuchi composed herself. She took out a gray jade archive. Use your blood to feed it. Don't worry, just 3 drops will be enough. Chinyu flicked his finger. 3 drops of blood flew out and fell onto the jade archive. A blood-red light bloomed, and the jade archive was reborn. A fierce demonic face appeared on its surface, filled with endless majesty. Yuchi flicked her hand, and the jade archive flew into the cave. As if it had fallen into a pool of water, it stirred up layers upon layers of waves. Then, the thick and unresolvable pitch-black night gradually turned into a whirlpool, spiraling to an unknown place. Roar, roar. As if sensing that a channel had opened, a deep demonic howl spread out from the vortex. The black face rose up from the vortex, its voice thick and cold. Who dares disturb the land of sealed demons? Yuchi grasped the guardian token and respectfully bowed. Demon token, I come to interrogate Blood Demon. Without needing to be reminded, Chinyu also took out the guardian token. The face paused for a moment, as if hesitating. But in the end, it said, You may enter. Whoosh, the face dispersed and the vortex completely opened. Billowing demonic energy erupted. Yuchi took a deep breath, excitement on her face. She grabbed Chinyu and rushed in. In the skies above the land of exiles, the moment that the land of sealed demons opened, night fell. Countless stars fell from the darkness. Vast starlight condensed. But before it could arrive, the aura that had caused all of this suddenly vanished from sight. The darkness dispersed with it. But this matter had already shocked the Northern Dynasty and Southern Empire. Countless demonic cultivators were excited, and the Righteous Path powerhouses were worried. Several days later, all sorts of monsters and demons gathered in the land of exiles. But, no matter how much they dug, they couldn't find a single trace. The crack in the earth vanished without a trace. Even that cold Een aura was restrained beneath the sunlight. Hashtag, 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 seeking monthly votes. Seeking monthly votes. Seeking monthly votes. Chapter 54. Genius 1, second remember if you want to go. Sure, Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. Everything in front of him was pitch black, and he felt as if his body was being torn apart. Even with his demon body cultivation, he only felt a bit of discomfort. Love go small, say, Netkiyu Chi's body tensed. She gripped Chinyu's hand tightly, and her breathing became much heavier. Chinyu hesitated for a moment. Then, he reached out and held her in his arms. Yuchi's body stiffened. After a moment of hesitation, she gradually softened. This process took far longer than he imagined. Just as he was wondering whether or not he would be trapped in the darkness forever, the tearing strength around him suddenly vanished. He loosened his hand and took a step back. Yuchi stood up straight and looked around, a faint pink tint to her ears. Chin-yu broke the silence. Where are we going? Their current location was a huge stone cavern. The walls of the cavern were filled with caves, and no one knew where they led. Yuchi seemed to heave a sigh of relief. She took out the compass and carefully examined it. After a moment, she put it away. Follow me. She paused and reminded again. Make sure to bring the guard token. He hurriedly led the way. Chin-yu smiled and followed behind. After entering the cave, the light suddenly dimmed. Even though the space wasn't narrow, it still made people feel breathless. It was cold and deathly silent. Besides the black stones, there was nothing else in sight. But as he watched Yuchi cautiously move forwards, he was secretly on guard, not daring to be careless in the slightest. Without warning, along with a mournful howl, a large stone suddenly protruded from the left. The black seal outlined a thin figure that rushed out, his arm grabbing at Yuchi. Her body tilted, but she quickly stood up. Her pretty face was cold as she looked at the stone without any fear. However, her slightly pale face and the beads of sweat on the tip of her nose exposed her true inner state. To tell the truth, Chin-yu was also shocked. It wasn't easy for her to adjust in such a short period of time. Sure enough, her coquettishness and gentleness were all fake. Her heart was stubborn and valiant. Even if she was afraid, she still had to hold on. After walking for a while, Chin-yu suddenly said, "Let's rest for a bit." Yuchi paused, not looking back. "You really are troublesome." She carefully examined her surroundings. After determining that there were no problems, she turned and sat down. Chin-yu tactfully distanced himself and closed his eyes in meditation. Yuchi bit her lips. She reached out and rubbed her ankle. As her eyes swept over Chin-yu, there was a trace of softness in them. Of course, she would never allow Chin-yu to see this. A moment later, Yuchi stood up. "Let's go." Chin-yu opened his eyes and smiled. The two of them continued deeper, the cave expanding outwards. When a skeleton that had been withered for countless years appeared on the ground, Yuchi's complexion changed. After thinking for a long time, she turned and said, "Be careful." Chin-yu slowly nodded. Not long ago, they found a broken seal. There was a large hole in the stone wall after the seal was broken. Yuchi stepped forward and carefully examined him. After a long time, she let out a breath. The seal loosened, allowing him to escape. But the seal's strength still severely wounded him. He couldn't withstand it and died. Chin-yu looked around. There wasn't anything strange about the dark cave entrance, but since Yuchi said this, she must have something to rely on. When they reached the fork, the cave split into three. Yuchi took out the compass, but after fiddling with it for a long time, she seemed to have encountered a problem. Try sensing your own blood. You should be able to do it. Chin-yu closed his eyes and emptied his mind. After several breaths of time, he opened his eyes and pointed. Left. Yuchi looked down at the compass, a worried frown on her face. What's wrong? Yuchi gently sighed. It looks like it won't be possible to easily obtain something. Of the three paths, the left one is the most dangerous. Chin-yu frowned. How dangerous is it? Very dangerous. Should we go? Yuchi's eyes brightened. Go. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come here in vain. She took a deep breath. If you can't withstand it, just pour into the guardian token. I forgot, you aren't a demonic cultivator. Stay closer to me. Chin-yu simply walked over. He seemed to be a bit too close. A delicate fragrance constantly drilled into his nose. When he looked down, he could see a young girl's fair neck, as well as the sparse hairs on it. Yuchi glared at him, indicating that there was no need to get so close. Chin-yu pretended not to see her. This was the land of seal demons. Although it had been peaceful the entire time, who knew when problems would occur? Moreover, if he knew that what came next would be dangerous, he would be an idiot if he didn't stick close to her. Yuchi clenched her teeth in anger. But as she felt the aura coming from behind her, she couldn't help but admit that she felt much more at ease. Whatever, there was more important business to attend to. I will endure this. After entering the cave on the left, the two of them had dignified expressions. It wasn't just because it was so dark that Yuchi had to take out the illumination pearl to illuminate the area, but more importantly because of the faint demonic energy that filled the air. The land of sealed demons was the place where demons were sealed, so by all reasoning, it was normal for demonic energy to leak out. But as the two of them walked down here, even when the sealed demonic cultivator had suddenly collided with them, there hadn't been the slightest bit of demonic energy leaking out. In addition, Yuchi judged this path to be the most dangerous according to the compass. The two of them slowed down a great deal. Neither of them had any thoughts of speaking. Only the sound of light footsteps echoed through the cave. Suddenly, Yuchi stiffened. Chinyu didn't know what was happening, but his body instinctively prepared itself. Bang, bang. The faint demonic energy in the air began to seethe like a raging sea, rising at an astonishing speed. One could clearly see traces of demonic energy seeping out from the stone walls in front and behind them. Shrill cries echoed in their ears. These weren't true sounds, but countless chaotic demonic thoughts fused together, trying to invade their minds and control them. With a loud shout, the guardian token in Yuchi's hand erupted with a faint black light that covered her and Chinyu. The invasion of demonic thoughts was immediately isolated. Hurry and run. She grabbed Chinyu and flew forwards. As if discovering that demonic thoughts were useless, demonic energy began to condense. Twisted demonic phantoms appeared in the cave, screaming as they hurtled towards the two. Yuchi's eyes flashed. Don't bother with them. They're just illusions. As she thought, the demonic phantoms passed through their bodies and scattered. Don't go. Stay here and accompany us. You can't escape. Low and deep, sharp, pleading, pitiful voices sounded out in the cave. There were men and women, young and old. Then, on the stone walls on both sides, seals began to break apart. The fierce figures of demonic cultivators began to appear. They crazily attacked, wanting to catch the two people in front of them. Yuchi quickly dodged. She seemed to have cultivated some sort of exquisite movement technique. Even though the demonic cultivators on both sides crazily attacked her, they weren't able to touch her at all. She warned, "Don't resist. Let me bring you away. Otherwise, if you touch the seal, both of us will be sucked in." Chinyu nodded. But at this time, his pupils shrank. He stepped forwards and grabbed onto Yuchi. The two of them came to a sudden stop. Caught off guard, they were nearly caught by the demonic cultivators attacking the seals. Yuchi turned around and was about to shout at them when she saw Chinyu punch out. With a loud bang, the demonic phantoms that flew towards them collapsed with miserable screams. A black short sword fell to the ground. Yuchi paled. If it weren't for Chinyu, she would have taken it as an illusion and crashed into it. The consequences could be imagined. Her lips moved as if she wanted to say something, but she was interrupted by Chinyu. Let's hurry and leave. Of course, he had already picked up the black short sword that fell to the ground. Perhaps because they discovered that they couldn't do anything to this man and woman, the sealed demonic cultivators all fell silent. Soon, the two of them rushed out of the cave and arrived in another large underground space. Yuchi loosened her hand and gathered her hair. This is a demonic treasure. The quality should be very good. After being soaked in pure demonic energy for so long, it should have developed its own spiritual sense. Chinyu's eyes brightened. Whether it was a magic tool or a demonic treasure, there was a chance that it would develop its own spiritual sense. This was called a spirit treasure. Even nascent soul cultivators might not be able to obtain a spirit treasure. From this, it could be seen just how precious they were. Don't think too much about it. This short sword has at most awakened at the initial stage. It has the shadow of a spirit treasure, but it is still far from truly transforming into a spirit treasure. Chinyu smiled. He put away the short sword. In any case, I picked it up. As for what happens in the future, that will depend on its good fortune. His words were frank, open, and carefree. Yuchi's eyes flashed. She turned around and said, "Let's rest." Chinyu nodded. "You rest. I will stand guard." Just now, it was Yuchi who attacked, so he was very free. Yuchi didn't stand on ceremony. She sat down and took out a pill, swallowing it down. The pill was black with a faint purple hue. There was a faint fragrance in the air. It was completely different from any pill that Shinyu knew of. This Yuchi, her identity was very mysterious. After a moment, Yuchi opened her eyes. Two traces of purple appeared in the depths of her eyes. They flashed for a moment, but there was an indescribable majesty to them. It's enough. Shinyu looked back at the cave. Miss Yuchi, this land of sealed demons should have been sealed off for a long time. So why haven't the demonic cultivators suppressed here died? Yuchi shook her head. Most of them have already died. It's just that their resentment hasn't scattered due to the strength of the seal. She didn't seem to want to speak further. Sense it. Which direction should we go? The underground space was extremely large. They couldn't see the end with a single glance. It was pitch black and visibility was extremely low. Shinyu closed his eyes. After several breaths of time, he opened them. His expression was dignified. It seems we've arrived. He lifted a hand and pointed forwards. Yuchi revealed a happy expression. Following the uneven ground, the two of them soon saw a jade slip in the darkness that emitted a faint blood-red light. It was suspended outside a large, protruding stone. The two of them didn't rashly move forwards. They carefully examined their surroundings. After discovering nothing strange, Yuchi could no longer suppress the excitement in her eyes. Shinyu turned and drew back several dozen feet. Yuchi's lips curved up in a smile. This fellow was quite tactful. She quickly walked over to the large stone and waved her hand. The jade slip flew into her hand. She seemed to be examining something. Then, she quickly put away the jade slip, her smile even brighter. That's right, it was here. She took out a storage bag. Demonic energy flashed, and a jade bottle appeared. It was translucent, and one could clearly see a thick crimson liquid inside. Opening it, a rich smell of blood filled the space. A red fog of blood rose up from the bottle, fusing into the stone as if it were attracted by something. Soon, all of the crimson liquid evaporated and the entire stone was covered in the blood fog. The blood fog gradually thinned out and was absorbed by the stone. It turned the same blood-red color and began to wriggle like a living creature. Lines appeared on its surface, twisting and weaving together to form a strange circular seal. Shinyu frowned. Shinyu frowned. This thing looked like some sort of clan emblem. Yuchi had a dignified expression. Her demonic energy suddenly boiled up. Steam rose up, soaking her black dress and causing it to stick to her body. Even at this critical moment, Shinyu couldn't help but linger a little. This back, this waist, this perky figure, there was no one else like this. Chapter 55. Geniuses in 1 second. Remember, love, go divided by small. Speak, net, providing you with wonderful novels to read. Yuchi bit her lips. You bastard who took advantage of others when they were down. Once this old lady finished her business, she would dig out your eyes. She took a deep breath and suppressed her thoughts. She lifted a finger and a drop of deep purple blood slowly seeped out from her fingertip. Love go small, speak, Neki Yuchi's complexion paled. Her eyes became increasingly bright. She flicked her finger and a drop of deep purple blood flew out, falling onto the center of the seal. As if it had been activated, black flames ignited on the seal. They fused together, forming a ghostly face with closed eyes. It opened its mouth. It was dark, leading to some unknown place. Without hesitation, Yuchi thrust her hand into the ghostly face's mouth. It bit down, and then there was the sound of swallowing. Shinyu frowned. His feet moved, adjusting to the best position to exert strength. Although Yuchi appeared calm and composed, he had no choice but to prepare himself in the face of this strange scene. If her complexion had only been pale before, then right now Yuchi's complexion was like a transparent sheet of paper. Faint blue blood vessels could clearly be seen, like some sort of blue flower tattoo. It gave her a different kind of charm. But when accompanied by the swallowing sound, no matter how soul-stirring this charm was, it would only cause a chill to rise in one's heart. Yuchi tottered, nearing her limit. Chinyu stepped forwards. Yuchi shouted out, "Don't come any closer." This woman was truly stubborn. Chinyu frowned. He didn't approach any closer, but he had already decided that if she really was about to die, he would immediately attack. Without the whereabouts of the demon blood, Yuchi had to live. Of course, in addition to this, there might be something else. For instance, gratitude for saving his life, even if this woman had nearly killed him in the past. Chinyu didn't have the chance to save the damsel in distress. The ghostly face loosened its mouth and let out a satisfied sigh. Yuchi drew back her hand. On her nearly transparent skin, there were 3 blood-red spots that were particularly striking. The ghostly face hid itself. Black flames suddenly rose up, melting the stone into the ground and forming a black iron door. So the place she was looking for wasn't on the stone wall, but beneath her feet. The black iron door slowly opened. A sudden change occurred. Bang! A black tentacle appeared out of thin air and whipped at Yuchi. A rich, demonic light instantly erupted to protect her. But even so, she was still sent flying backwards. With a loud bang, she smashed into a stone wall. The demonic light shattered, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. Before she could fall, an invisible force appeared and confined her in midair. So this is how the Eye of the Seal is opened. A figure appeared outside the iron gate with his hands clasped behind his back. His terrifying aura was like a mountain, making it hard for them to breathe. Black gas gushed out from the iron door and condensed into a chain that rolled towards him. His figure disappeared in an instant and reappeared not far away. He turned around and revealed a green-skinned face. His expression was gentle and indifferent, and he didn't look like a sealed devil, but more like a teacher. "Little girl, let's make a deal. You break the seal, and I'll let you go. How about it?" Yuchi cried out in alarm. "Blue Cloud Demon." This person was surprised. "You recognize me?" Yuchi's face was filled with awe. 800 years ago, you were a peerless, proud son of heaven of the first sky demonic path. Even if time has washed over you, it still cannot diminish your brilliance in the slightest. This junior naturally recognizes you. Blue Cloud Demon laughed. "What a sweet-mouthed girl. Since you know my identity, you should know that I will keep my word." Yuchi bitterly smiled. "With senior status, do you not know how special the Eye of the Seal is? Once an accident occurs when it is opened, it cannot be opened by the same person again." Blue Cloud Demon's complexion darkened. "Senior, since you cannot break the seal, what use is there in keeping you around? Senior, please listen to me. The land of sealed demons has been abandoned. I estimate that the only ones that know of this place and can enter are the 2 of us. If you kill us, I fear that Senior will really be trapped here until you die." "Little girl, what do you mean?" Yuchi respectfully said. "The 2 of us might be able to rescue Senior." Blue Cloud Demon maintained his composure. "Speak." The land of sealed demons uses the 3 great demonic treasures as the foundation to form 3 eyes of the seal. These 3 eyes of the seal are connected to the terrain to form the power of the seal. I can find the other 2 eyes of the seal. As long as I open them and take out the demonic treasures, the seal will loosen and Senior will be able to escape. Yuchi clenched her teeth. "If Senior doesn't feel at ease, you can brand us with demonic thoughts. At that time, our lives will be in the hands of Senior, and we will do everything we can to rescue you." Blue Cloud Demon lightly said, "I admit that I was moved by your words, but little girl, do you think that I can't see who you are? To you, controlling demonic thoughts is nothing but a joke." Yuchi stiffened. Senior's vision is sharp, and this junior admires it. But you should know that with my cultivation, I am far from awakening the strength of my bloodline. Blue Cloud Demon's eyes were ice cold. "I also know that there are no absolutes in this world. I will not take risks. Little girl, you stay here and let this boy break the eyes of the seal. Once I am free, I will let you go." Yuchi bitterly smiled. "I can agree to Senior's request, but my companion doesn't know how to open the eyes of the seal." Blue Cloud Demon was silent. After several breaths of time, he looked up and revealed a strange smile. "Little girl, you want to play tricks with me?" You are far too naive. Since you have performed a meritorious service in opening the eyes of the seal, once this matter is over, I will give you a quick death." Bang! His body scattered, and an icy, cold, demonic thought howled outwards. Qin Yu's heart shrank. He took a step back and rapidly drew backwards. At the same time, he punched out a fist. The fist smashed into the demonic thought, but it was like striking a cotton ball that had been soaked in ice water. Blue Cloud Demon's cold voice echoed in his mind. "Boy, accept your fate." Qin Yu's body stiffened. It was like he had fallen into an ancient cave of ice. A bone-chilling cold made his body pale white. And what was even more terrifying was that the demonic thought had already entered his Dantian Sea and was hurtling towards the Great Tao base. "Ah!" Qin Yu roared out loud. He tumbled to the ground and wildly rolled about. Yu Qi paled. "Qin Yu, hold on. If your body is seized, we will all die." Damn it, Blue Cloud Demon was stalling for time so that he could seize Qin Yu's body. He had a way to break open the eyes of the seal. She had been tricked. Yu Qi bit her lips. To use a nascent soul's divine sense to seize the body of a Foundation establishment cultivator was as easy as turning her hand. She feared she wouldn't be able to escape today's calamity. In a flash, a beautiful face appeared in her mind. She thought back to the jade slip that was sent to her when she was expelled from the land of sealed demons. So it was all a plot to kill her with a borrowed knife. She was truly my good sister. Yu Qi bit down on her lips. As she looked at the struggling Qin Yu, guilt gushed out from her eyes. "Little man, I'm sorry, but I want you to die with me." Blue veins popped out on Qin Yu's face. His facial features twisted and sweat gushed out from his pores. There was even a faint trace of blood. Within his Dantian Sea, the Great Tao base had nearly turned pitch black. Only a dim light was emitted from the center, like a candle in the autumn wind that could be extinguished at any moment. This light was the manifestation of Qin Yu's consciousness. Once it disappeared, his soul would scatter and he would never be able to return to samsara. In this situation, he would only need several breaths of time to seize Qin Yu's body. Blue Cloud Demon laughed inwardly. As long as he smoothly seized Qin Yu's body, he could enter the eyes of the seal and regain his freedom. All he needed to do was seize Qin Yu's body. With his demonic sense, even though he could only use 10 to 20% of it to resist the seal, it was still easy for him to seize the body of a Foundation Establishment Junior. Blue Cloud Demon was brimming with confidence. But as time passed, he began to frown. This Bratzel was far too strong. His soul would shatter when he tried to seize Qin Yu's body. The pain was 100 times worse than being dismembered, but he still hadn't given up. Humph! What was the use? In the face of absolute strength, all his efforts were futile. Bang! Bang! There was a heaven-shaking explosion within his Dantian Sea. Black demonic sense surged out like a tide, crazily impacting the final bit of light. It grew darker and darker, thinner and thinner, on the verge of collapse. Let's end this. Blue Cloud Demon was enraged to the extreme. To deal with a mere Foundation Establishment boy, he had used up so much time. He had lost all face. On the Great Tao base, as the black tide continued to bombard it, the central bit of light stagnated. Cracks appeared as if it would shatter at any moment. But suddenly, the cracks melted away and light shined once more, like sunlight piercing through the darkness of the heavens. It became more transparent, purer, clearer. Seeing Qin Yu twitch and his black robes soaked in blood, Yu Qi's eyes changed. She couldn't help but feel a bit of admiration and anticipation. Perhaps he really could hold on? Just as this thought appeared, Qin Yu suddenly stopped roaring. His aura changed with it. Although it was weak, it couldn't escape Yu Qi's senses. She sighed inwardly, feeling a bit helpless. Indeed, in front of a nascent soul, there was no way a Foundation Establishment cultivator could escape. Yet, she still had such extravagant hopes in her heart. How laughable! Shua! Qin Yu opened his eyes. Two flames seemed to burn in the depths of his eyes. Divine light sparkled like stars, particularly striking in the dark underground. Looking into his eyes, Yuchi's eyes widened and her face filled with disbelief. This sort of familiar feeling, how was this possible? The ice-cold demonic sense withdrew. Demonic energy gathered in the air, condensing into Blue Cloud Demon's figure. His complexion was dark and gloomy. Just as he was about to succeed, this boy's divine sense actually transformed and rose to the next level. Although it was only at the Golden Core level, it was enough to resist the swallowing demonic sense. Chinyu cupped his hands together. "Greetings, Senior Blue Cloud Demon." Blue Cloud Demon sneered. "Brat, do you think that I won't kill you just because you forced back my demonic sense?" Chinyu said, "This junior doesn't dare." "Humph." Blue Cloud Demon's eyes darkened. "Brat, I will teach you how to break open the eye of the seal. As long as you can do it, I guarantee I will let you go." Chinyu shook his head. "This junior does not trust you." Blue Cloud Demon's veins popped up, and he nearly vomited blood. "You little bastard, you are indirectly cursing me for not keeping my word." But his actions just now were still vivid in his mind. Even if he was hung up and beaten in front of his face, he still couldn't find any words to refute. His face darkened for a long time. Then, he suppressed his anger and said, "Brat, what do you think we should do?" Chinyu said, "It's very simple. Let's do as Miss Yuchi said before. We will break open another eye of the seal and help Senior escape." Blue Cloud Demon sneered. "Brat, do you think I'm an idiot? If you want to break open the eye of the seal, then go alone. The girl will stay behind and talk with me." "Okay." Chinyu immediately agreed. "I asked Senior to release Miss Yuchi and have her teach me how to break open the eye of the seal." Blue Cloud Demon hesitated for a moment. Then, he waved his hand and undid the shackles. With his cultivation, did he really need to fear these two little fellows stirring up any trouble? Chinyu took out a storage bag and took out a jade slip. "Miss Yuchi, please mark the method of breaking open the seal inside." Yuchi clenched her teeth. This bastard had agreed so quickly. She feared he would turn around and run away as soon as he left. She really wanted to loudly tell Blue Cloud Demon that Chinyu wouldn't be able to learn how to break open the seal, but doing so would only drag him down with her. Whatever, he was the one who was involved today. If he could survive, then that was it. Just consider this old lady acting as a good person before she died. Her face was icy cold. She took the jade slip and placed it against her forehead. After several breaths of time, she tossed it back to Chinyu. Her cold eyes didn't linger on him at all. Greedy for life and afraid of death without any sense of responsibility. Just looking at him would pollute her eyes. Chinyu probed the jade slip with his divine sense. There were only 3 words written on it. "Cheap man." A thick sense of resentment washed over him. The corners of Chinyu's lips twitched. He lightly coughed and pulled her into his arms. "Don't worry, I will bring you away." Yuchi stiffened and almost curled her lips in anger. This bastard still wanted to take advantage of her before he left. Who was he trying to fool with such a gentle tone? "Do you think I'm familiar with you? Hey, that's enough. Why are you hugging me tighter and tighter? Do you really think I won't turn hostile and drag you down with me?" As Blue Cloud Demon saw the two of them locked in a stalemate, he felt a little more at ease. His eyes fell on Yuchi and a sly smile flashed in his eyes. What a beautiful girl. If he could really break free from the seal, he might as well keep her alive and take her in as a concubine. It was rumored that the women of this clan were truly wondrous. Chinyu's face was as warm as jade, but he didn't have any other thoughts. As his eyes fell on Blue Cloud Demon, he keenly sensed the lingering look in his eyes. With a flip of his palm, he placed the jade slip into his storage bag. With a wave of his sleeves, purple lightning howled out. Chapter 56. Genius 1, second remember if you want to go. Sure, Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. Dong. Chinyu and Yu Chi stepped forwards, causing the ground to shake. A formidable strength pushed them back the way they came. Behind him, thunder rumbled and purple lightning flooded his vision. The crackling sounds were mixed with the pained roars of Blue Cloud Demon. "Junior, this old man will definitely kill you." A furious roar reverberated in the cave. Qinyu remained unmoved. The strength of his demon body erupted to the limit as he raced forwards through the cave. Every step he took caused a loud and deep rumbling sound. Yuqi was stunned. It was a long time before she regained her composure. As she looked at Qinyu, her eyes began to change. In order to save her, he had torn apart all pretense of cordiality with Blue Cloud Demon, and he could have escaped by himself. Just as she was about to say something, a violent fluctuation came from behind them. Terrifying devil chi condensed into a huge mouth, biting towards the two of them. Yuqi's hands subconsciously tightened. Qinyu waved his hand, and a mighty bolt of purple thunder appeared once more. The demonic energy mouth miserably screamed as it was smashed apart by the power of thunder. With the danger averted, Yuqi's face flushed red. Only now did she realize that she was hugging his neck. She quickly let go, her heart flustered. Bang! More demonic chi erupted, turning into black bones that grabbed at the two of them. However, in the face of the purple lightning, they were instantly shattered. Blue Cloud Demon roared again and again, but his demonic sense didn't dare to approach. After being struck by that thunder just now, it had nearly shattered to pieces on the spot. If it came again, even if he didn't die, he would be severely wounded. The power of thunder was the bane of demonic power, and when Qinyu activated the power of thunder, it was even more terrifying than ordinary thunder. Seeing that he couldn't stop these two, Blue Cloud Demon's eyes shined with a ruthless light. He knelt on the ground and pressed his hands down, sending a terrifying demonic energy rumbling into the ground. The entire cave violently trembled. Tiny cracks appeared on the seals on both sides of the cave. Roar, roar! The ruthless demonic souls trapped inside swarmed out and pounced on the two. Qinyu's complexion changed. The power of thunder revolved around his body. The demonic souls that rushed at him screamed and retreated, but in the blink of an eye, new demonic souls rushed at him. The land of sealed demons was an incomparably mysterious place. It had existed for a very long time and had sealed away countless demonic cultivators. Even a single passage had over 1,000 demonic souls. Although the power of lightning was powerful, it was also extremely exhausting in such a situation. Qinyu said in a low voice, "Think of a way to escape. Otherwise, we won't be able to escape." Yuqi bit her lips. "Give me the guard token." Qinyu took it out without hesitation. Yuqi picked up the 2 guard tokens and turned her back to Qinyu. As their bodies rubbed against each other, her cheeks bloomed with beauty. When the 2 guardian tokens were placed together, the patterns on the surface were perfectly matched. Bang! A monstrous blood-red light erupted, and 2 burly figures appeared, one at the front and one at the back, protecting the 2 of them as they roared and attacked. Their movements were slow and clumsy, but every time they attacked, a blood-red light would sweep out. The devil souls that came into contact with it felt as if a strong acid had been poured on them, causing them to scream as they were corroded. The passageway was instantly cleared. "Let's go. The guardian soul has been activated and can buy us some time." The deeper meaning was, of course, that it wouldn't last for long. Qinyu didn't speak. He picked her up and ran away. Shua. The 2 of them rushed out of the demonic soul channel and arrived at the fork in the road. But what they saw caused their hearts to sink. Their line of sight was already filled with demonic souls, blocking off all paths of retreat. The bodies of the 2 guardian souls were starting to become transparent, and they wouldn't be able to hold on for much longer. Blue Cloud Demon's roars came from all directions. "I want all of you to die without a grave." Bang! The demonic souls crazily rushed forwards. Qinyu turned and rushed towards the central passageway. It wasn't that he knew it was safe here, but that there were the least demonic souls here. Yuqi took out the compass, but the entire land of sealed demons was in utter chaos. The needle spun around like a headless fly, unable to give any direction. With 2 loud roars, the guardian souls scattered. The demonic souls that had lost all fear rushed forwards once more. Strong winds rose up, demonic energy surged. The demon vine shot out and landed on the ground. It turned and said, "Take the miss away." Bang! Demonic energy billowed. The demon vine wildly grew, its roots drilling into the ground and walls, weaving together into a thick barrier. Yuchi's eyes turned red. She bit her lips, not saying a word. Chinyu shouted out, "Take care." He turned and continued to flee. Behind him, the demon vine's strange laughter and curses echoed out. "You damn ghosts! You want to touch my families, miss? Dream on. Oh, it hurts a lot. I'll pull out all your teeth and see what you can do." "Hey, that's right, I'm talking to you. You bastard, you actually sneak attacked me. Don't be so angry. I'm still here, none of you can pass." The voice gradually weakened. As they moved further away, the demon vine's voice wasn't as full of energy as it was at the start. Suddenly, a deep sound came from behind them. Yuchi tensed up and tears flowed down her cheeks. This was the first time Chinyu had seen her cry. She didn't make a sound, only silently weeping. It was a sight that left one's heart aching. "The demon vine won't die in vain. We can escape," Chinyu quietly said. Yuchi wiped away her tears. She suddenly said, "Run away by yourself. If you bring me along, no one will be able to leave." Chinyu bitterly smiled. "Do you think I don't want to? But I don't know the way. If I lose you, where can I escape to?" Yuchi's lips moved, but she didn't say anything in the end. She leaned against his chest and listened to his strong heartbeat. She sighed. There was regret, there was unwillingness, but there was also a bit of satisfaction and emotion. In this world, there was finally a man who was willing to live and die with her. As for Chinyu's nonsense, she didn't believe him at all. If he really wanted to escape by himself, there was no need for him to fall out with Blue Cloud Demon. Why did he have to go to this point? What a stubborn little man. Schwa. Chinyu stopped, his complexion gloomy. There was no way out. Yuchi chuckled. "This time, even if you want to escape, you won't have the chance." Chinyu frowned. "How come it sounds like you're gloating over my misfortune?" "That's right. Let me tell you something. I am very afraid of the dark. If you can die with me, I will feel much better." Yuchi smiled. "Don't put on such a sad face. Dying together with me is a wonderful thing. There are many men who wish for it, but can't." "Ah, I forgot. You haven't seen my face yet. This big sister is very beautiful." Chinyu lowered his head. Her face seemed to be covered in a layer of mist, blurring for a moment before becoming clear. His breath caught in his throat. Ningling's beauty was that there was not a single part of her body that wasn't perfect. She was like a goddess walking the earth, noble and elegant, making it difficult for others to develop any thoughts of profanity towards her. Yuchi and her were two extremes. Her face was so charming that it could charm all living beings. Every part of her body exuded an allure that made one's heart race. In particular, her eyes were watery like whirlpools, as if they could suck in one's soul. When combined with her extremely hot and sexy figure, just a single glance at her made one have the urge to commit a crime. Gulp. The sound of gulping was particularly clear in the quiet underground. The two fell silent. Yuchi's laughter broke the silence. She weakly leaned against Chinyu's body, constantly patting him with her hands, extremely satisfied with herself. Chinyu had an embarrassed expression. This was really just a subconscious reaction. He never imagined that he would be so easily tempted. Fairy, she was a fairy. He quickly looked away. Yuchi's laughter came to a stop. She panted a little and said, "If there was still time, this big sister wouldn't mind letting you take advantage of me. What a pity, it's too late." The demonic soul's cruel roars echoed out from afar. Chinyu's blood nearly rushed to his head. He took a deep breath and bitterly smiled. "Don't speak anymore. You should just change back." Yuchi mischievously blinked her eyes. "Of course not. I'm going to die soon, so of course this big sister has to be beautiful." Chinyu's eyes brightened. "What if I can live?" Yuchi curled her lips. "There's a 1% chance." Chinyu tore off his robes and tied Yuchi to his body. He thought back to several years ago when they were underground. He had once tied up a girl like this. It was the same certain death situation. At that time, he had survived and she had died. Qin Yu's eyes dimmed for a moment before he composed himself. He said in a low voice, "We will both live." Light and firm. Yu Qi's heart raced. At this moment, Qin Yu was calm, confident, resolute, and possessed an indescribable charm. Roar. The first demonic soul rushed into his field of vision. It roared and hurtled forwards. Qin Yu lifted a hand and pointed a finger. A cold blade howled out, instantly cutting apart the demonic soul. But in the blink of an eye, a second, a third, a fourth demonic soul appeared. In just a breath of time, the demonic soul filled his field of vision. Bang, bang. With a loud explosion, a fierce battle erupted. Every time Qin Yu attacked, he would be able to crush a demonic soul. But in the blink of an eye, the surrounding demonic souls would swallow them up. Then, they would crazily attack again and again. Wounds began to appear on his body. Although the demon body was powerful and the wounds weren't deep, there were simply too many of them. Blood flowed out from his clothes and dripped to the ground. Smelling the scent of blood, the demonic souls became even crazier. Like flies, they surrounded the two in layers. Bang! Purple thunder erupted, recklessly spreading outwards. Dozens of demonic souls were instantly turned to powder. Peepa, peepa, the sky thunder bamboo fell to the ground. Lightning sparkled on the surface of its branches and leaves, illuminating the underground. Qin Yu was bathed in blood, but Yu Qi was completely unharmed. "Little man, don't worry about me." Qin Yu untied the cloth and placed her beneath the sky thunder bamboo. "I haven't given up yet." He stepped forwards and rushed into the demonic souls. With a flick of his sleeves, he took out the soul-burying flag. Black Sky Demon grasped the jade scepter. He looked at the sky thunder bamboo with fear in his eyes and then quickly followed behind Qin Yu. With Black Sky Demon's help, they were able to temporarily stabilize the situation. But the demonic souls were boundless and endless. Once they exhausted their strength, they would inevitably die. Beneath the sky thunder bamboo, Yu Qi watched as Qin Yu bathed in blood. Even though he knew he couldn't escape death, the resolve in his eyes didn't waver in the least. In the face of death, he would fight for life. Her eyes were dazed for a moment. She muttered, "Mother, perhaps I have found the person I am destined to be with, just like you and Father. But the timing doesn't seem right." She paused for a moment and then smiled. At this time, all of her seductive charm had vanished. He hasn't given up yet, so how can a daughter wait for death? Perhaps I can help him live on. Even if I die, he will remember me for the rest of his life. This shouldn't be too bad. Yu Qi glanced at Qin Yu and then closed her eyes. Purple lines appeared on her body. When contrasted with her fair and nearly transparent skin, it formed a soul-stirring beauty, as if a peerless painting were slowly unfolding. Suddenly, Yu Qi's eyes flashed open. Demonic flames ignited all over her body. Black and purple fused together, releasing a heart-racing aura. The demonic souls that were wildly attacking Qin Yu froze. They howled in panic as they wildly fled backwards. "Heavenly demon slaughter," Yu Qi coldly said. Flames howled out, avoiding Qin Yu and Black Sky Demon as they swept through the cave. Within 1,000 feet, the demonic souls vanished like smoke. After finishing all of this, Yu Qi gently smiled at Qin Yu and fell backwards. Shua! Qin Yu held onto her. Blood dyed her dress red. As he felt her body heat dissipate, he took a deep breath and a firm look appeared in his eyes. He picked up Yu Qi and put away Black Sky Demon. Then, he lifted the sky thunder bamboo and rushed towards a stone wall before the demonic souls could reach him once more. Ripples of seals appeared, swallowing up the two of them. Chapter 57. Genius 1 second remember if you want to go. Sure, Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. The soft light of the illuminating pearl illuminated the cave. Yu Qi was lying on the black robe. Her breathing was extremely weak, but there was some color in her face. Love, go small, say, Net cannot too far away. Qin Yu was sitting cross-legged. The wounds on his body had already scabbed over and half of his face was hidden in the darkness, making it look even sharper. The Sky Thunder bamboo was placed at the entrance. Every time there was a flash of lightning, a demonic soul would be smashed apart. Black Sky Demon stayed far away from the range of the thunder, constantly absorbing the demonic soul fragments. His body became increasingly black, as if he would melt into the darkness. Suddenly, a soft moan sounded in the cave. It was extremely weak, but it was still full of charm. Chinyu opened his eyes and quickly walked over. Yuchi's long eyelashes gently trembled. After several breaths of time, she slowly opened her eyes. She looked at him and smiled. "I'm actually still alive." Chinyu relaxed. He lightly said, "Your luck is good." Yuchi curled her lips, not bothering to expose him. The medicinal efficacy that was still recovering in her body was the best proof. If it could save her, then it had to be a spirit plant that was at least several hundred years old. Her eyes lazily swept around. "Where are we?" Chinyu had a serious expression. "I have a question. Do you know how to break the seal?" Yuchi languidly stiffened, the corners of her mouth twitching. "Say that again." Chinyu bitterly smiled. "That's right, we are in the seal." Pa! The Sky Thunder bamboo flashed with thunderlight, shattering the intruding soul demon. Black Sky Demon revealed a satisfied smile. Yuchi was silent for a long time and said faintly, "I knew it. How could we escape? But I'm still alive." Her face suddenly turned serious. "I have a question too." Chinyu said, "Speak." Yuchi asked, "Between me and Ning Ling, who is prettier?" Chinyu frowned. "Can't you worry about something normal? For example, how are we going to escape?" Yuchi smiled proudly. "I thought I was going to die, but now I'm still alive. I've already earned it, so why should I think more?" Chinyu fell silent. "Can we really not escape?" Yuchi rolled her eyes. Blue Cloud Demon was only able to escape with his demonic sense. "Do you think we have a chance?" Simple, powerful, and clear. Chinyu wryly smiled. "This really is a sad story." Yuchi smiled charmingly. "At least we are safe for the time being. We have enough time. Don't you want to do something?" Yuchi covered her mouth and smiled. She looked at his back. "At least we're safe." Yuchi covered her mouth and giggled. Her eyes fell on his back, and there was a trace of satisfaction. To be able to resist temptation and not take advantage of others' difficulties. This old lady's eyesight is indeed good. She suddenly frowned. The Ning family's girl seemed to be a step faster than her. But soon, a smug look appeared on Yuchi's face. Trapped in the land of sealed demons, with a single man and woman in the same room, she had plenty of chances to beat them to the punch. At Qin Chi night, you placed it, and he, demon, he. Qin Chi, Qin spirit Chi. Wu Wu Qin you walked, and spirit. He demon. At Qin. At spirit Qin, the inside night. At Chiu. The Qin, the dark, you, the sun, the demon was you. The Wu Qi, net, unfortunately, the storage bag had limited space. After placing the Sky Thunder bamboo inside, he couldn't place anything else. The 2,000 gold mulberries could only bitterly stay in another storage bag. Black Sky Demon absorbed the demon's soul fragments for several days, and his strength had increased by leaps and bounds. Now that the Sky Thunder bamboo was recovering its strength, he took over the duty of sealing the entrance. 7 days later, with the powerful demon body and sufficient pills, Qinyu's injuries were completely healed. After that, he began to suffer Yu Chi's endless harassment. "Little man, big sister's chest feels stuffy. Can you help me examine it?" "Little man, I'm cold when I sleep. Can you hug me?" "Little man, big sister's legs are numb. Help me rub them." Every time, little man Qin would run away, and the witch would laugh arrogantly. This was too excessive. This was simply going too far. Qinyu felt that he couldn't endure this any longer. Otherwise, where would he have the least bit of dignity as a man? Yuchi seemed to sense a dangerous glint in his eyes. Although she continued to tease him, she no longer approached him. As she watched him hesitate and grit his teeth, her smile became even more soul-stirring. 2 days later, the demonic souls vanished from sight. The outside world quieted down, as if Blue Cloud Demon had given up on killing them. Without the eyesore of Black Sky Demon, Yuchi's slightly peaceful heart began to stir once more. Little man, Qin finally erupted. He pressed a hand against a stone wall and forced her into a corner. If Miss Yuchi continues to act like this, don't blame me if something happens to you. Yuchi timidly said, "Do you want to be a beast?" Qin clenched his teeth. "I've already been worse than a beast for an entire month." Yuchi charmingly smiled. Her eyes were like little hooks that said, "Come on, come on." Her eyes were half closed, as if she were waiting for him to pluck at her will. After being suppressed by the land of sealed demons and being teased countless times by the witch, Qin looked at her dark red face and smelled her faint fragrance. He nearly burned with passion, but this time he froze. Yuchi's breath smelled like orchids. "Little man, you don't dare." Qin took a step back. His face flushed red, but his eyes regained their clarity. "Perhaps we can leave this place." Yuchi's eyes widened. "Move back a bit." Qin stood in front of the wall. He took a deep breath and punched out. Bang! Rubble flew into the air. The land of sealed demons had seals imprisoning it, making it incomparably hard. Unless one broke through the seals or erupted with a strength that surpassed their limits, it was impossible to destroy. But now, the seals were intact, and this stone could be destroyed. Qin eyes brightened. There really was a problem. Bang, bang, fist after fist, magic power boiled within him, and the strength of the demon body was pushed to the limit. Crash! Massive stones fell down. A dark cave entrance appeared in front of them. Qin looked back. Yuchi had taken out a shining pearl, her eyes bright. Shwa, shwa, the two walked in. The cave was very large. It was several meters high and wide, extending as far as the eye could see. There were rough traces of excavation. It was very dry inside. Beneath the shining pearl's light, a giant hoof print appeared in front of the two. It was the size of an adult. Yuchi's complexion changed as if she recognized something. She frowned and said, "Be careful." The two walked deeper into the cave. There weren't any dangers along the way. It was just that the excavation became increasingly rough and broken scales began to fall to the ground. Qin squatted down and touched it. It disintegrated into powder. "I'm afraid it's been here for over 1,000 years." Yuchi murmured, "I never thought that would be sealed in the land of sealed demons. Let's hurry up. There shouldn't be any dangers here." Demonic energy flashed. She flew forwards. Qin quickly followed behind. The cave began to twist. Marks of impact appeared on the left and right. More and more scales were blown away by the wind, revealing a dark and mottled color. This should have been caused by blood. Without warning, a mountain of bones appeared in front of the two. It was over 100 feet long. It had a sharp horn, fierce fangs, a towering spine, and a sturdy tailbone. All of this indicated that it was ferocious. The skeleton lay on the ground. Just before it died, it had been digging into the cave. Its left claw was still stuck in the stone. Its empty eye sockets stared ahead. Even though 1,000 years had passed, one could still feel the stubbornness and unwillingness exuding from its body. Yuchi had a complex look in her eyes. She sighed. "Even the earth demon beast died here. We really can't escape. We were happy for nothing." Qin frowned. His figure flickered, and he arrived at the end of the cave. He punched out with his fist. Dong! There was a deep explosion, and a shaking strength impacted him. He was forced back several steps, blood tumbling in his chest. The stone wall was undamaged. "Don't waste your strength," Yuchi lightly said. "With our cultivation, we don't have the strength to break the seal." Qin looked up at the skeleton. He suddenly said, "Yuchi, I can feel that there is something inside that's attracting me." Yuchi arched an eyebrow. "Are you sure?" Qin nodded. "I'm sure. The reason I was able to discover the cave was because I could feel something in the skeleton attracting me. And now, this feeling is even more intense." Yuchi licked her lips. "Little man, if your feeling isn't wrong, then you are far too lucky." Demonic energy flashed. She flew to the earth demon beast's spine. She looked down and saw the seventh segment. Then, she lifted a hand and slapped it down. Bang! The earth demon bee skeleton loudly collapsed, and countless bones shattered. But, starting from its horn, all the way down to its skull, to its spine, to its tailbone, it was completely intact. Yuchi's eyes brightened. She flicked her sleeves and strong winds rose up, sweeping away all the broken bones and revealing what remained of the skeleton. After carefully inspecting it, she revealed a happy expression. You actually managed to preserve the Earth Demon blood essence. Qin Yu's expression changed. Earth Demon blood essence? Yuchi said, that's right. It is demon blood that can help you increase the rank of your demon body. Moreover, it is an extremely high rank. She sighed with emotion. I can't believe there really is such a high rank of demon blood in the land of sealed demons. Unfortunately, I am not a man and cannot cultivate the demon body. Otherwise, I would have been able to do so with this earth demon blood essence. Qin Yu's complexion turned ugly. In other words, when you said there was demon blood in the land of sealed demons at the start, you were lying to me? Yuchi smiled. Don't be angry. The facts prove that I was right. Look, the earth demon blood is right here. Qin Yu didn't know what to say. This hateful demoness. Even though her lies had been exposed, she could still act so righteously. He took several deep breaths and barely managed to suppress his anger. But at this time, his breath caught in his throat. He quickly took several more breaths and said, Do you feel it? Yuchi was curious. What? Qin Yu arrived beside the stone wall. He stepped forwards and shot into the skies. He grabbed onto the protruding stone and reached out to touch the cracks. This was the result of the Earth Demon Beast's final strike before it died. He rubbed his fingers and smiled. What is it? Qin Yu fell down. He spread out his fingers. There's water. Yuchi was startled for a moment before she was pleasantly surprised. She flew up to the stone wall and personally tested it. Then, she screamed out loud and threw herself onto Qin Yu's back, ruffling his hair. How could you be so smart? How could you be so smart? Ha 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 ha. I knew I wouldn't die so easily. You little slut. Do you think I'm dead for sure? Don't worry. I will definitely return alive and settle this debt with you. Qin Yu's forehead was dripping with sweat. Was this demoness insane? Chapter 58. Genius in a Second. Remember Love Go? Speak, net, to provide you with wonderful novels to read. Ha! Yuchi fell to the ground. I'm not crazy. Don't look at me in disgust. I will immediately extract the earth demon blood to help you make a breakthrough. She turned and rushed towards the remains of the earth demon beast. Qin Yu looked at Yuchi moving about on the skeleton and sighed inwardly. No wonder the earth demon beast still had such an unwilling appearance after 1,000 years. It was because it had nearly escaped with its life. Perhaps it had only needed to wave its claws one more time. But for some unknown reason, it had died at that time. But the earth demon beast's efforts weren't in vain. After crossing 1,000 years, it had given the righteous and demonic pair hope of escaping the land of sealed demons. Qin Yu gripped his fists. Yuchi was bleeding again. It seemed that many of her methods required her blood to activate. Her fingers traced across the remains of the earth demon beast, quickly forming a series of patterns. What was strange was that the blood didn't coagulate as it left the body. Rather, it became increasingly bright, flowing with a purple halo. Her complexion paled once more. Her injuries hadn't healed to begin with, and now she lost more blood. This was a serious loss. But her fingers remained steady, and there was an unprecedented solemnity on her face. This proved that in her heart, she was still filled with longing for the outside world. In front of the hope of living, who would be willing to die? The skull that had consumed the most blood was filled with the last pattern. Then, the entire remains of the earth demon beast suddenly ignited with black demonic flames. It blazed and leapt about. The temperature in the air wildly rose. One could see faint lines of blood appear on the white bones, gathering towards the horn. Pa, pa, bone after bone broke. Losing the last of its strength, it was burnt to ashes in the demonic flames. Finally, all that was left over was the skull and horn. It floated in the air. The demonic flames condensed together, making the burning flames even more terrifying. The bloodlines were forced into the horn. With a loud cracking sound, the horn separated from the skull. Yuchi took out a jade bottle and accurately caught the dark red beads of blood that dripped down from the horn. Shwa! She landed on the ground, swaying a little. She brightly smiled at Chinyu. It's done. This woman was stubbornly stubborn. Chinyu respectfully said, leave the rest to me. Yuchi nodded and handed over the jade bottle. Chinyu turned and sat down cross-legged. He closed his eyes and adjusted his breathing, trying to restore his condition to its peak as soon as possible. Yuchi looked at his face, her eyes flashing with complex emotions. She longed to escape because there were still many things waiting for her to complete. But once she left, it would be difficult for her and Chinyu to continue the situation they were in the land of sealed demons. Perhaps he had already sensed it. Yuchi sighed softly and put away the skull of the earth devil beast. Shwa! Chinyu's eyes flashed open. A sharp light burst out from them, but he didn't move at all. His bones emitted loud, crackling sounds. Perhaps the demon body had already sensed the temptation of the earth demon blood. Without hesitation, Chinyu opened the jade bottle and swallowed down the earth demon blood. Within his chest, his heart was beating vigorously, pushing his blood to rush through his body. It rumbled like a surging river. From top to bottom, every inch of flesh, every piece of bone was cheering, madly absorbing the power contained in the earth demon blood. They began to transform and sublimate. Chinyu clenched his fists, his body shivering and sweat streaming down his body. This sort of mortal body advancement would bring him an incomparably tyrannical strength, but it would also cause him to feel a tearing pain. But with the test of the demon body when it first formed and the torment of seizing his body, this degree of pain was no longer able to crush his will. Chinyu carefully sensed every minute change in his body, because this would bring him an even greater strength. Suddenly, Chinyu reared back his head and roared. Bang! A fierce aura broke out from his body, like an ancient vicious beast awakening from a deep slumber. Dense demonic runes appeared on his body. Billowing demonic energy gushed out from the void, forming a vortex that wildly poured into his body. Yuchi's eyes widened. Demonic general runes. She bit her lips, joy surging in her eyes. She had bitterly chased after a chance to return, but who would have thought that it would jump right in front of her? Demonic general runes. Golden core, realm, demonic general runes. Bang! The cave trembled, interrupting Yuchi's joy. She sensed for a moment and took out the compass. As she looked over it, her complexion darkened. The strength of the seal was revolving and would soon arrive here. Their target was Chinyu. The aura of his breakthrough had triggered the seal. I just saw a glimmer of hope. And you want to extinguish it? Dream on. Yuchi sat down cross-legged, her hands constantly slapping the ground. With every strike, demonic energy gushed out from the ground, forming walls that lined up in different directions, protecting her and Chinyu. Black lines spread out from the walls of the cave, like the roots of a great tree. Yuchi clenched her teeth. The strength of the seal had arrived faster than she expected. Luckily, she had sensed it early, so there was still enough time. Saint Seal rise. Hum. The walls of demonic energy erupted with light. The phantom of a square seal appeared above the two of them. It was faint and dim, but it contained a transcendent dignity. The strength of the seal stagnated, as if it could feel a suppression coming from this seal. After several breaths of time, the fierce ghost face appeared. It was the one that had opened the land of sealed demons. It angrily roared, "Those who break the seal die." Yuchi formed a series of hand seals. Black and gold light revolved around the seal above her head. I'm the envoy of the Saint Seal. I have investigated the cause of the earth demon beast's death. Draw back. The ghost face paused. I cannot prove my identity. Bang, bang. The strength of the seal swept out. The walls of demonic energy shook, on the verge of collapse. Yuchi bitterly smiled. Indeed, her bloodline was far too thin. It wasn't enough to summon the Saint Seal to frighten the spirit of the seal. She turned to look at Chinyu. Although she was secretly anxious, She didn't say a single word. No matter what, she couldn't disturb his breakthrough, otherwise the two of them would die. Little man, hurry up. The ghost face's cries became increasingly shrill and shrill. Beneath its urging, the strength of the seal grew stronger and stronger, blotting out the skies like a raging flood. Cracks began to appear in the demonic energy walls, and the seal, above her head, began to totter. Shwa! Chinyu opened his eyes. He flicked his fingers, and a drop of blood flew into the seal. It immediately stabilized, becoming much more solid. Out of my way! With a loud shout, the blood within the seal erupted with blood-red light, and an invisible pressure rose up. The ghost face miserably screamed and vanished from sight. The strength of the seal retreated. Yuchi was pleasantly surprised. You broke through? Chinyu smiled and nodded. We can't scare it away for too long. Let's leave as soon as possible. You stand behind me. He stood in front of the stone wall and took a deep breath. His chest puffed out and his bones crackled like muffled thunder. Boundless strength rose up from his feet, passing through his waist to his arms. He stepped forward and punched out, boundless strength gushing out from his fist. There was a heaven-shaking explosion. The entire cave trembled. With the earth demon beast, as the center, cracks spread out like a spider web. Rumble, rumble, like 10,000 horses galloping. The stone wall was broken through, and the underground river roared forth. In the barren land, a massive canyon pierced through a range of mountains. The dark gray river water roared and roared. Suddenly, a giant vortex appeared in the center of the river. It swallowed up an endless amount of water, nearly cutting the river in half. Whoosh! The center of the vortex collapsed, and a man and woman broke through the water. They landed on the riverside, gasping for breath. They were Chinyu and Yuchi. Her entire body was soaked. Her dress clung to her body, outlining her perfect figure. Her chest had been washed away by the river water, revealing two startlingly white peaks. Chinyu glanced around and hurriedly moved to the side. Yuchi calmly pulled on her dress. Demonic energy surged around her, instantly drying her body. We've finally escaped. Chinyu nodded. He looked at the vortex in the river and frowned. Yuchi's eyes flashed. Don't worry. The spirit of the seal has already sensed it. This channel will soon be thoroughly destroyed. Just as her voice fell, the ground beneath her feet suddenly trembled, as if the ground had collapsed. The vortex in the river vanished, and the river continued flowing, as if nothing had happened at all. Chinyu relaxed a little. If it was because of them that the seal was broken and the demonic souls of the land of sealed demons escaped and wreak havoc in the world, he would surely find it hard to rest easy. Yuchi smiled. I didn't think that you would have such a compassionate heart. Chinyu shook his head. I just don't want to carry the guilt on my shoulders. Yuchi didn't comment. Then, let's settle our accounts. She lifted a finger. In the past, you ruined my plans, and I nearly killed you. Now, we're even. A second finger. You failed to break through, and I saved your life. In the land of sealed demons, you also saved me, so we're even. A third finger. You obtained demon blood and broke through to the demon body, but I obtained nothing. Moreover, you saw me naked just now. Chinyu's eyes widened. Don't deny it. I know what my dress is like. What's the difference between soaking wet and not wearing anything? A real man shouldn't be afraid to take responsibility for his actions. Chinyu bitterly smiled. All right, I owe Miss a favor. Yuchi smiled in satisfaction. You said it yourself. Remember it well. I will come looking for you for it. She turned and left. A jade slip flew towards him. Before I leave, I have a small gift for you. It matches some of the things in your storage bag. Chinyu caught the jade slip. There seemed to be a faint fragrance on it, but when he looked up, she had already disappeared. She had come without warning and left in a carefree and open manner. But why did it feel like she had fled? Chinyu's lips curled up in a smile. The emptiness in his heart scattered. He looked up to determine the direction and then shot into the skies. Half a month later, deep within the northern dynasty wilderness, winds and clouds suddenly rose up in the skies above a valley. The black clouds were as thick and viscous as ink, leaving one's heart racing. Bang! Thunder fell down from the heavens, carrying with it the momentum of 1,000 caddies. The entire valley trembled before the might of the heavens and earth. Soon, the winds and clouds scattered. A rare and resplendent sunlight sprinkled down onto the earth. At the bottom of the giant pit, Qin Yu was kneeling on the ground. All the spirit stones around him had been turned to powder. His hair was slightly burnt, and his black robes were torn in many places. The soil around him began to melt beneath the terrifying power of thunder. As the temperature dropped, it turned into translucent crystals. He stood up. A powerful aura broke out from his body, filling the air with pressure. On the great Tao base platform in his Dantian Sea, a round golden core floated in the air. It was like a great sun rising from the east, emitting 10,000 beams of golden light. Golden Core Realm. This was the Golden Core Realm. Qin Yu flicked his sleeves, and the earth was torn to pieces. Cracks crisscrossed for 100 feet around him. It was a horrifying sight. The might of this strike was comparable to a 6th-level golden core. This was the terrifying effect of 18 failed breakthroughs. The quality of his magic power had increased. Suddenly, Qin Yu's thoughts stirred. He stepped forwards, the earth collapsing, and he shot into the skies. 1,000 feet away, he lifted a hand and pointed down. Strong winds rose between the heavens and earth. A finger tore through the wind. There was a heaven-shaking explosion. In the distance, a small mountain collapsed. Rubble pierced through the air, cutting dozens of meters into the ground. 3 blue fingers, first finger, boundless blue. Qin Yu's complexion paled. He was startled by the consumption of the boundless blue finger, but its might was equally terrifying. With his supernatural power superimposed on the demon body, there was no need for him to fear anyone below the nascent soul realm. Ha ha ha! Hearty laughter echoed through the world. Chapter 59. Genius 1, second remember if you want to go. Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. After a long time, the laughter in the valley stopped. Qin Yu took out a jade slip and probed it with his divine sense. Love, go small, say, Netka little man, if you have a sister in your heart and read the jade slip in time, you can avoid physical pain. Otherwise, you are ungrateful and ungrateful. In order for demonic runes to appear in the demon body, one needed to kill a golden core realm demonic cultivator as a sacrifice. Otherwise, within a month, the demon body would suffer a backlash, and the pain would be like being fried in a pan. Don't ask why. I don't know either. Just do as I say. Let me give you a suggestion. It's best to choose a golden core, late-stage devil cultivator. The effect of the sacrifice will be the best. I happen to see some fish teeth in your storage bag. They are barely usable. Remember the sacrificial refining method at the back. It might save your life at a critical moment. You still owe me a favor, so you must live well and wait for me to collect the debt. That's it, little man, until we meet again. It was a typical Yu Qi tone. Black lines covered Qin Yu's face. This crazy woman, she had only told him such important information now. However, when he thought about it, it was normal for her to do such a thing. He continued to read. After a long time, he drew back his divine sense. With a loud cracking sound, the jade slip disintegrated. This was definitely Yu Qi's doing. She wasn't worried that the information inside would be leaked, but rather wanted to know whether or not he had suffered a backlash from the demon body. Qin Yu bitterly smiled. Even after this woman left, she still wouldn't let him rest. But the things she left behind were indeed of great use. Sacrificing a demonic golden core to avoid a backlash from the demon body? It just so happened that Deep Sea Demon was the only person that knew of my relationship with Ling Er. If I killed him, I could erase any hidden dangers and prevent any accidents from occurring in the future. But before that, let's complete the refinement first. Shua. His figure flickered, and he vanished from sight. In a simple cave dwelling, Qin Yu sat down cross-legged. 108 strange fish teeth were neatly arranged in front of him. He carefully deliberated in his mind, and after confirming that it was all right, his eyes suddenly opened, and divine light shone from them. His robe fluttered even though there was no wind as his hands formed a seal. The 108 fish teeth seemed to have sensed something and trembled slightly. Suddenly, Chinyu pointed out a finger. A bead of blood dripped from his fingertip and fell into a strange fish tooth. It trembled slightly and instantly turned the color of black blood, emitting a fiendish aura. Chinyu was stunned. Just like that, he fell silent for a long time. He picked up the strange fish tooth and carefully looked it over. After a long time, he confirmed that he had truly succeeded. A person who had never learned how to refine an artifact before had actually completed the sacrificial refinement in one go. Although the demonic path's refining method was crude, it was indeed useful. Keep up the good work. He made a hand seal, condensed his blood essence, and injected it into the fish's teeth. It couldn't be any easier. Chinyu became increasingly skilled. After a day of rest, on the third day, he had completely refined all 108 strange fish teeth. Besides his pale complexion and the slight loss of blood vitality, he hadn't suffered any losses at all. He had completed the storm flow magic tool that Yu Qi had left behind. The so-called storm flow required the refinement of materials of the same origin, and when facing the enemy, all of them would be unleashed in an instant. And the most terrifying thing was that after continuously bombarding the enemy, the magic treasure would directly self-destruct, increasing the killing power to the extreme. Every time he attacked, a massive amount of precious materials would be destroyed. Moreover, the most terrifying thing was that every material needed to be fed with blood essence. Chinyu's demon body was so powerful that he didn't care about losing blood essence. But for others, just the blood essence needed to refine 108 strange fish teeth was enough to take half their life. In short, while the storm flow was simple and crude, it wasn't something that just anyone could play with. Chinyu flicked his sleeves and placed the 108 strange fish teeth into his storage bag. With this storm flow in hand, he was confident he could escape even if he faced a nascent soul cultivator. 3 days later, whoosh, Chinyu shot into the skies. All of the blood essence he had lost had been restored. Deep-sea demon, I'm coming to kill you. After the righteous and demonic convocation at Hidden Wind Valley, the demonic path's morale had suffered a heavy blow. In order to stabilize the situation, they had temporarily retreated. But in a short 3 months, the demonic path found an excuse to tear up the agreement and return with a fierce momentum. War erupted once more. Canyonwell City had already fallen, and over half of the Southern Empire had fallen under the control of the demonic path. Perhaps because they wanted to vent their anger and wash away their shame, Canyonwell City was nearly razed to the ground. Several sections of the city walls stood on the ground, making for a bleak and desolate scene. Beneath a pavilion in a mansion, Li Yunma held a jar of wine, the smell of alcohol lingering around his body. Because Liang Taizu had been killed, he had been severely punished by the 7 Slaughter Demon sect and had been ordered to guard Canyonwell City, a city that had been nearly destroyed and was in the heartland of the demonic path. What meaning was there in guarding it? Li Yunma was well aware that this was a disguised form of exile. If it weren't for his golden core cultivation being somewhat useful, he feared he would have already been buried with them. Even so, his life was finished. All of the beautiful future he had been looking forward to had left him. Thinking of this, Li Yunma's eyes turned red with hatred. He smashed the wine jar and roared, "Chinyu, Chinyu, I will tear you to shreds." The sound of footsteps echoed out. Li Yunma didn't even turn his head as he roared, "Get out!" "Li Yunma, it's been a long time." This voice, Li Yunma froze. His forehead was instantly covered with a cold sweat, and most of his drunkenness disappeared. Bang! Demonic energy erupted. He shot into the skies, fleeing without even turning his head. Outside the pavilion, Chinyu's lips curved up in a mocking smile. Did this person want to tear him to pieces? Li Yunma's face was deathly pale, and his eyes filled with fear. It was him. It was definitely him. Chinyu, he had returned. Although he wished that he could eat his flesh and drink his blood, even Army Breaker had been killed by Chinyu. So what did he count for? I'm not running away, but spreading news that Chinyu is here. Deep Sea Demon is in seclusion just outside Canyonwell City. As long as he is alarmed, Chinyu is dead for sure. Li Yunma crazily galvanized his demonic energy to flee the city. As he felt a sharp chill behind him, he turned his head and was nearly scared to death. Chinyu wasn't too far behind. His slow movements made it seem as if he could catch up at any moment. A righteous path spy is here. Anyone who kills this person will be richly rewarded. In Canyonwell City, several demonic path golden cores were enraged. Although Li Yunma was crippled, for better or worse, he was still a golden core. Even though they didn't care about him, they couldn't allow a righteous path cultivator to humiliate him. Otherwise, where would their face be? You dare to be insolent in my demonic path territory? You are courting death. With an angry roar, a demonic path golden core blocked the way. He lifted his saber and slashed down. Shwa! A black saber light howled out like a waterfall. It's Black Saber Demon. Ah, my idol. I never thought that Lord Black Saber Demon would be in our Canyonwell City. This righteous path cultivator is finished. He can easily chase down Li Yunma, but facing Lord Black Saber Demon, all that awaits him is death. Chinyu was expressionless. He lifted a hand and punched out, causing the saber light to collapse. Bang! Black Saber Demon was sent flying backwards. The saber that he was famous for flew out of his hand. His chest caved in and blood gushed out from his nose and mouth. In the blink of an eye, he had become a corpse. Canyonwell City fell deathly silent. Several demonic path golden cores that were about to attack froze where they stood. Li Yunma was so scared that he pissed himself. He really pissed himself. A hot stream flowed down his robes, but he couldn't care about anything else. Ah! He screamed as he rushed out of Canyonwell City. Then he shouted with all his might, Deep Sea Demon, Chinyu is here. Chinyu! Several demonic path golden cores that had just regained their composure felt their eyelids jump up. They nearly cursed out loud. That bastard Li Yunma. He was using them to block his spear. That pitiful Black Saber Demon. He had attacked without understanding the situation and had died an unjust death. However, since Deep Sea Demon was here, that was even better. He was a late golden core powerhouse. He was more than enough to kill Chinyu. The time to share in the credit had arrived. Even if Deep Sea Demon took the lion's share, if they follow behind, he would at least be able to drink some soup. If they didn't accept this sort of merit that fell from the heavens, then they would be idiots. Bang, bang, demonic energy erupted. For demonic path golden cores rushed out of the city. Chinyu, where do you think you're going? Stay here and die. Your end has arrived. This slogan was moving, but didn't they think they were a bit too far away from the battlefield? They still looked as if they could run away at any moment. However, no one was in a mood to laugh at them. The demonic cultivators of Canyonwell City stretched out their necks to look outside the city, waiting for Lord Blacksky, Demon, to arrive. The dignity of the demonic path would have to depend on Lord Blacksky, Demon's strength to turn the tide. A black dot appeared in their line of sight. It approached at an astonishing speed, causing heaven and earth's spiritual strength to rumble. Shwa, the demonic energy scattered to reveal Blacksky, Demon's figure. He stared at Chinyu, killing intent swirling in his eyes. Today, I will not give you a chance to escape. With a flick of his sleeves, a black turtle shell appeared. In the blink of an eye, it grew to over 10 feet, releasing ripples of black demonic energy that sealed off the surrounding 1,000 feet. The demonic cultivators of Canyonwell City cried tears of joy. Lord Blacksky Demon was truly worthy of being called Lord Blacksky Demon. He hadn't disappointed them at all. That little thief Chinyu, prepare to die. Li Yunma let out a long breath of relief. Then he smelled the pungent stench on his body. His face flushed red, and he roared out in shame. Chinyu, you are dead. The 4 golden core demonic cultivators finally dared to rush forwards. They roared out together, kill him. Chinyu smiled. Li Yunma, thank you. Li Yunma was stunned. Deep-sea demon's pupils shrank, and a strong restlessness surged in his heart. Bang! Qin Yu stepped forwards. A terrifying strength shot out, causing space to distort. His figure burst out like an arrow. Deep-sea demon shouted out loud, "You are seeking death." With a flick of his sleeves, billowing demonic energy turned into a roaring tide that rushed forwards. In an instant, Qin Yu's figure was submerged. The demonic cultivators of Canyon Well City cheered, shaking the heavens. Lord Deep-Sea Demon's magic power is boundless. Kill Qin Yu and show off my demonic might. This Qin Yu, he has brought about his own destruction. Deep-Sea Demon didn't have any joy on his face. Instead, the restlessness in his heart became increasingly heavy. With a loud explosion, the tide of demonic energy broke apart. With a stuffy cough, Deep-Sea Demon's face paled. His eyes widened in disbelief. But he didn't have time to think. A fist came crashing towards him. He raised his hand to block it, and the demonic energy violently trembled, nearly breaking apart. A terrifying strength rushed towards him. Half his body was numb, and his entire arm was groaning in pain. This boy, he was even stronger. No, he was far stronger than before. How was this possible? As Deep-Sea Demon retreated, he roared with alarm and anger. But at this time, his body stiffened and he roared out in pain. Deep in his mind, it was like someone had slashed at him with a saber. A divine sense attack. This was a divine sense attack. I am at the late Golden Core realm. So how could this boy's divine sense be so strong? Bang! A fist ruthlessly struck Deep-Sea Demon. Demonic light gushed out to resist the majority of the strength. But the remaining portion still caused him to vomit blood as he was sent flying away like a sandbag. Ah! Deep-Sea Demon roared. Demonic energy wildly tumbled around him. But before he could stabilize himself and counterattack, the divine sense attack arrived once more. As his body stiffened, he was sent flying away once more. Bang! Bang! With a loud explosion, Deep-Sea Demon seemed to have turned into a giant sandbag. Qin Yu was only at the early Golden Core realm, but his divine sense was inconceivably strong. This was the effect of the pills he had taken, and also the result of his divine sense being tempered during the pain of seizing his body. In addition, the demonic path cultivation methods weren't suited for divine sense defense. This was why he had been completely crushed. Li Yunma's legs trembled. The courage that had just risen was scattered once more to suppress Deep-Sea Demon. Qin Yu was actually strong to such a degree. At some unknown time, the 4 Golden Core demonic cultivators had already retreated 1,000 feet away. Their faces were deathly pale, as if their parents had just died. Canyon Well City was deathly silent. The hearts of the demonic cultivators were collapsing. Didn't they say that they would turn the tide and restore the dignity of the demonic path? If this was a nightmare, then please wake up as soon as possible. Hashtag, 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 hashtag. This is the Mid-Autumn Festival. I wish all my fellow readers a happy and joyful life and a healthy and prosperous family. Chapter 60. Genius 1, second remember if you want to go. Showa Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. His magic power was pure, and his strength was comparable to a 6th-level Golden Core. His demon body was powerful, and he possessed infinite strength. When all of this was added together with his astonishing divine sense, this was the reason why Qin Yu was able to roll over Deep-Sea Demon. Love go small, say Netko unless you have a heaven-defying bloodline or a powerful inheritance. It is never easy to fight someone of a higher level. Deep-Sea Demon roared again and again, but fear began to grow in his heart. As he punched out again and again, his injuries gradually worsened. If this continued, it wouldn't be long before he was beaten to death. Run. As soon as this thought appeared, Deep-Sea Demon felt a deep sense of shame. His eyes turned blood red, but this feeling soon intensified. Compared to life and death, what was a momentary loss of face? Recently, his cultivation level had loosened, and there were already faint signs of a breakthrough. The great Tao of nascent soul was right in front of him. If he were to die like this, it would be too depressing. It was never too late for a real man to take revenge. In order to find a way out, Deep-Sea Demon roared out loud. The black turtle shell above his head rapidly shrank, and the imprisonment range shrank with it, until it was only 30 feet around Chinyu. With a flash of pain in his eyes, Deep-Sea Demon turned and fled. This was because he knew that the imprisonment of the tortoise shell wasn't enough to trap Chinyu. At most, it could buy him several breaths of time to escape. Whoosh! Wrapped in billowing devil chi, he whizzed away. Li Yunma miserably screamed and turned to flee. The 4 demonic path golden core cultivators reacted faster than him. They had already rushed out 1,000 feet. The demonic cultivators of Canyonwell City were left in chaos. How embarrassing. A late-stage Yidon, 5 Jidon powerhouses, and 6 demonic path experts were actually scared to this extent by a Jidon cultivator, who would restore the dignity of the demonic path. Bang! With a heaven-shaking explosion, the tortoise shell shattered apart. Chinyu stepped forwards, slaughter energy rising around him as his killing intent locked onto Deep-Sea Demon. Deep-Sea Demon's heart collapsed. He knew that the tortoise shell couldn't block this attack, but how could it be so fast? And why do you always want to kill me? Li Yunma also has a grudge against you, and there are also those 4 shining golden cores beside him. Killing them would be easy, so why are you chasing me? Bang! Blood-red flames ignited, and Chinyu's speed rose by 10 times. As Deep-Sea Demon was filled with despair, a squad appeared in the distant horizon. A crimson banner fluttered in the wind, and a powerful aura stirred up the winds and clouds. There was a thunderous roar. Deep-Sea Demon's eyes widened in ecstasy. He loudly shouted, "Sovereign, save me!" The late Golden Core Master displayed his full strength. His voice instantly spread through the world. Li Yunma and the 4 demonic path Golden Cores that were running away stopped at the same time. As they glanced at the approaching group from the corner of their eyes, they quickly turned around, their faces filled with fighting spirit. "Little Chinyu, don't be so insolent. We won't rest until you die. Even if we perish together, I won't let you take half a step out of Canyonwell City." The billowing sound waves likely wouldn't travel far enough. But the problem was that Chinyu was already outside Canyonwell City. Deep-Sea Demon's lips twitched. These 5 bastards, but he didn't have the time to lower himself to their level. His eyes regained their sharpness, and he locked on to Chinyu like a hawk. His shame, anger, and resentment all turned into cruel, killing intent. "Chinyu, I remember that you have a close relationship with that little girl, right? When you die, I swear that I will capture her and torture her to death." Deep-Sea Demon feared nothing. The 7 Slaughter Sect Master's carriage had arrived, and Chinyu was doomed to die. Even if he stood there motionless, could he really kill him? Chinyu swept his eyes over the approaching group. His eyes instantly locked onto Deep-Sea Demon. "I won't give you a chance. Let's end this." Deep-Sea Demon's heart violently shrank. Chinyu lifted a hand and pointed out. Boundless blue finger. Bang! Strong winds rose up between the heavens and earth. A finger broke through the wind. Deep-Sea Demon's face instantly lost all color. With a loud cry, his late golden core cultivation crazily erupted, and endless demonic energy wrapped around him. The carriage door opened, and a blood-red robed middle-aged man stepped out. His expression was gloomy, and killing intent surged in his eyes. This person was the 7 Slaughter Demon Sect Master, Heavenstar Demon. Bang! Boundless blue finger fell. The demonic energy trembled and collapsed, revealing Deep-Sea Demon's pale face. His eyes widened with unwillingness as he looked down. In his chest, a giant hole had appeared and blood wildly gushed out. His originally beating heart had disappeared without a trace. Chinyu spread out his arms. Deep-Sea Demon suddenly emitted a mournful howl. His face twisted with fear, and his mortal body rapidly withered away. Rich blood energy drilled out from his pores, rapidly condensing in the air above him. turning into a strange demonic face. Heaven Star Demon's complexion changed. He took a deep breath and suppressed the shaking in his heart. His eyes gradually turned hot. Who? Black flames rose up, swallowing the demonic face before vanishing from sight. Seeing this, Chinyu felt relaxed from the inside out. It was like some karmic entanglement that had entangled him had vanished. Bang! Bang! Minus 12 columns of demonic energy shot into the skies, supporting the heavens and suppressing the world. Heaven Star Demon stepped through the void, the aura of a nascent soul overwhelming the skies. Junior Chinyu, you have killed a powerhouse of my demonic path. Today you will not escape. Bang! A demonic hand appeared out of thin air. It was pitch black, as if it were made of some kind of jade. The palm lines were clear, as if an ancient demon were reaching out to grab him. The hearts of the demonic cultivators of Canyon Well City raced. They were so excited that they couldn't control themselves. There was still someone in their demonic path that could turn the tide. This was the Seven Slaughter Sect Master, a nascent soul realm super powerhouse. It would be far too easy for him to kill Chinyu. Hey, you brat. Who told you to be so arrogant? The time for retribution has come. Chinyu's expression was dignified. Under the pressure of a nascent soul realm martial artist, all of his bones seemed to groan. He originally thought that with his current cultivation, he wouldn't be able to use this object for a short period of time, but he never imagined that he would have to rely on it to save his life. With a flick of his sleeves, 108 strange fish teeth floated around his body. As Chinyu pointed a finger, they formed a straight line that shot through the skies. The first strange fish tooth shattered and exploded. Then a second, a third, a fourth. Even though the demonic hand was extremely powerful, it still couldn't withstand such a terrifying attack. Cracks appeared on it before it collapsed. There was a loud rumbling sound as the demonic hand was torn apart. The remaining strange fish teeth shot towards Heaven Star Demon. Stormflow. Heaven Star Demon roared out in anger. With a flick of his sleeves, a starry sky of demonic energy appeared, shining with stars. The strange fish teeth smashed into this starry sky. Even though they wildly exploded, they weren't able to harm him in the least. But this clearly wasn't without a price. Heaven Star Demon was forced back until he was within the range of the 12 demonic energy columns. As he was forced back, the 12 demonic energy columns instantly blurred. Bang! The blood escape art was displayed. Wrapped in blazing demonic flames, Chinyu smashed into the invisible seal. He spat out a mouthful of blood and forcefully broke through the seal. Whoosh! His figure shot far away. Heaven Star Demon's complexion darkened. He lifted a hand and grabbed a clump of blood. He lowered his head and sniffed it, flames igniting in his eyes. Before this, he had only been guessing, but now he could confirm that it was the demon body. It really was the demon body, but Chinyu had already fled. After crazily burning his blood essence, the speed of the blood escape art was something that not even he could catch up to. Pass down my orders. Find him. Find him at all costs. Skyhaven City. The #1 cultivation sect of the Southern Empire was the Pill Giant Immortal Eclipse Valley. But in the eyes of the Southern Empire's cultivators, Skyhaven City had the highest and most majestic status. It was built atop a natural flying stone and was a true city in the sky. It had a legacy of nearly 10,000 years, and even someone as strong as Immortal Eclipse Valley wasn't able to take it for themselves. At the same time, this was also the safest place within the borders of the Southern Empire. Skyhaven City forbade all cultivators from taking action, and there were even natural array formations that prevented demonic cultivators from entering. As long as one was able to live in the city, that meant they had a powerful background and status. The Zhu family was one of the powerful families within the borders of the Southern Empire that had the qualifications to live in Skyhaven City. The Zhu family had a legacy of 10 generations. Although there had been ups and downs, they still had an endless number of powerhouses. Today, they even had 3 golden cores supporting them. They had all joined powerful sects, and their influence was deeply rooted. They couldn't be underestimated. At this time, Qin Yu appeared in front of the Zhu family's residence, requesting an audience. He wore a black robe that covered his entire body. Although there was a suspicion that he was hiding something, his golden core aura still made the guards in front of the Zhu family not dare to underestimate him. In particular, this person claimed to be an old friend of Lord Blue Cloud. Of the 3 golden cores of the Zhu family, although Zhu Blue Cloud had the lowest cultivation, his talent was actually the best. He was the one that the entire Zhu family favored the most. My lord, please wait a moment. I will immediately pass on the message. A guard hurried away. Soon, under the shocked gazes of the remaining guards, Zhu Blue Cloud strode forwards. Before he even arrived, he loudly said, "Where is the person requesting an audience?" Qin Yu smiled. He cupped his hands across his chest. "Brother Zhu, it's been a long time." Zhu Blue Cloud was overjoyed. "You?" His eyes brightened. He nodded, "Follow me." He turned and led Qin Yu into the Zhu family's residence. As they entered his residence, Zhu Blue Cloud directly asked, "Were you the one who killed Deep Sea Demon?" Qin Yu pulled down his hood and smiled. "No." Zhu Blue Cloud let out a long breath. "I was wondering how it could be you. Just how long has it been, and yet you were able to kill Deep Sea Demon? Moreover, some people even said that even the 7 Slaughter Sect Master, Heaven Star Demon, wasn't able to keep you here. This is just too ridiculous." Qin Yu's smile didn't change. But in the next moment, Zhu Blue Cloud was confused. "The key question is, besides you, who else would chase after Deep Sea Demon? Tell me the truth, was it you or not?" From the moment I received the news until now, I haven't had a single good night's sleep. If you think it was, then it was. If it wasn't, then it wasn't. Qin Yu blinked, not directly answering. Zhu Blue Cloud's eyes widened and his mouth fell open. Although he didn't say a single word, it was unknown how many obscenities were spitting out in his heart. After a long time, Zhu Blue Cloud took a deep breath and regained his composure. You damned freak." His eyes were filled with bitterness. He had broken through a level of cultivation and thought that the disparity between him and Qin Yu had shrunk by a great deal, but who knew that in the blink of an eye, he would be left behind without a trace. Qin Yu laughed. "That's enough. You should know why I came here." Zhu Blue Cloud curled his lips. "Don't worry, I sent Guling to the Rainbow Sect and also arranged for her to stay in Skyhaven City. She is very safe there. And now that you've killed Deep Sea Demon, I don't think anyone knows of your relationship with him." He paused for a moment. "Do you want me to send someone to bring Gulinger here so you can meet her?" Qin Yu thought for a moment and shook his head. "She's gone." Zhu Blue Cloud was left speechless. "In order to save her, you first killed Liang Taizu and then killed Deep Sea Demon. The entire 7 Slaughter Demon sect is going crazy looking for you. You paid such a great price, and you don't even want to see her?" Qin Yu smiled. "Every time I see her, she will be in more danger. As long as she is safe, it doesn't matter if I see her or not." Zhu Blue Cloud nodded. "You have the final say in your matters." Qin Yu cupped his hands across his chest. "Brother Zhu, I fear that I will have to trouble you to take care of Linger in the future. I will thank you in advance." Zhu Blue Cloud waved his hand. He said half-truthfully, "You are a thick thigh now. My Zhu family can't wait to curry favor with you. So how could it be troublesome?" Qin Yu smiled. "In the future, as long as it is within my abilities, I will do my best to help." This was a promise. Although there were restrictions, it was because of this that he appeared earnest and sincere. Zhu Blue Cloud was overjoyed. "I'll remember this." Originally, there were some complaints within the family about him using favors to send Guling to the Rainbow Sect. But once he revealed a bit of his intentions, he wanted to see who had anything to say. Qin Yu also guessed this, so he made a promise to the Zhu family. Friends were friends, but favors were favors. This was how people conducted themselves. "Let's go. Today, we won't return until we're drunk." Qin Yu smiled and agreed. He had been drinking for a long time, so it was about time to eat. Zhu Blue Cloud borrowed the strength of the wine to ask in a roundabout way how Qin Yu's strength had risen so much in such a short period of time. Of course, he was brushed off. Zhu Blue Cloud angrily cursed him for not being loyal. Qin Yu smiled, not caring at all. In truth, the two of them both knew that they were only saying these things to pull their relationship closer. They both knew that it was impossible for them to say anything. After drinking, Qin Yu bid his farewells and left. Zhu Blue Cloud earnestly urged him to stay, but to no avail. Rainbow Sex Station. Qin Yu stood at the entrance of the street. After waiting for 2 hours, he finally saw Gu Ling walk out. She stood in a group of female cultivators. Although she was still a bit shy, she was much more confident than before. This girl, it seemed she had grown up. Qin Yu smiled. He turned and left. Gu Ling suddenly turned her head, a puzzled look on her face. Linger, what is it? A senior apprentice sister asked. Gu Ling bit her lips. She looked left and right, but she didn't have the same feeling from before. She didn't know why, but her heart was empty, as if it were missing a piece. Chapter 61. Genius 1, second remember if you want to go. This is the web that provides you with wonderful novels to read. Clouds lingered between the steep cliffs. Sunlight sprinkled down, and the mist refracted the light, adding a bit of tranquility to this place. But at this time, the roars and roars from beneath the clouds completely destroyed this tranquility. The chicken overlord's feathers fell to the ground. The red crown on its head was broken and blood flowed down its face. But it didn't care at all. It fiercely glared at its opponent. Across from it was a wild wolf that was over 2 meters long. Its blue fur was moist, and it looked like a calf. One of its eyes had become a bloody hole, and the other was blood red. A corner of the mountain valley had been affected by the battle. But the medicine field behind the chicken overlord hadn't suffered any damage at all. In truth, the chicken overlord's thoughts were very simple. If it hadn't been able to eat something, how could it allow a fool like you to ruin it? The wild wolf opened its bloody maw, and a mass of blue energy appeared in its throat. The chicken overlord's eyes revealed fear, but it didn't retreat. Instead, it flapped its wings and fiercely pecked at the wild wolf. The wild wolf's single eye flashed with a cunning light. It lowered its head and allowed the chicken overlord to peck at its head. Its skin was lifted up to reveal its pale white bones. It roared in pain and spat out a mass of blue energy that shot straight towards the chicken overlord's head. Just now, it had only grazed it a little, and its crown had been broken. A frontal attack was more than enough to kill the chicken overlord on the spot. The wild wolf had been pecked blind in one eye. It hated the chicken overlord to the extreme and didn't hesitate to be injured to kill it. The chicken overlord couldn't avoid it in time. It cried out in its heart, thinking that its life was over. Farewell, my beautiful little hens. This overlord will not be able to visit you again. Who? A strong wind swept up the chicken overlord, allowing it to avoid the blue mass of energy. With a loud explosion, a giant pit appeared in the ground. The wild wolf's first stood on end. Its powerful hind legs exerted strength, and it leapt up to flee. What a vigilant beast! But you intruded into my mountain valley, and you still want to leave? Qin Yu flicked his sleeves. The wild wolf cried out miserably as it was sent crashing into a stone wall. Countless bones were broken, and it wasn't able to climb up for a time. Having escaped from death, the chicken overlord wept tears of joy. It threw itself over and hugged Qin Yu's thigh, its cries tearing at one's heart. Qin Yu lifted his hand and poured magic power into the chicken overlord's body. The wounds on its body stopped bleeding, and it became refreshed. Not bad. The pill inside is yours. The chicken overlord skillfully opened the storage bag and was immediately overjoyed. It beamed with joy, its eyes narrowing into slits. It picked it up and hid it under its wings. It turned around and looked at the wild wolf. It flapped its wings and looked down from above. Are you dumbfounded, idiot? I have a backer. The wild wolf struggled to get up. It arched its body and growled. It swayed, but it did not want to fall to the ground and wait for death. Qin Yu's eyes flashed, revealing a bit of surprise. He waved his hand and said, "I'll spare your life today. Go." The wild wolf crouched on the ground, bowed, turned around, and staggered away. The chicken overlord anxiously stomped its feet. It wasn't willing to let it go like this. Chinyu smiled. "You pecked out one of its eyes, and you only lost a bit of blood. You didn't lose anything, so don't be so stubborn." Although this wild wolf had gained intelligence, it clearly did not have the means to break the array. How did it come in? Could it be? Chinyu arrived at the edge of the valley. With a flick of his sleeves, a spirit stone was revealed. It was gray and cloudy, having already broken apart on its own. He frowned and inspected several more places. Most of the spirit stones here were damaged or had lost a great deal of spiritual strength. Before leaving with Yuchi, Chinyu had specifically inspected the valley's array formation. At that time, the valley's array formation had been operating normally, so how could it have exhausted the spiritual strength of the spirit stones in such a short period of time? After breaking into the golden core realm, his divine sense had risen, and he now had the qualifications to study the Tao of array formations. If he had a chance, he would have to pay attention to these items. After replacing the spirit stones and confirming that the array formation was operating normally, Chinyu returned to his wooden house. He sat down on a round cushion, a thoughtful look on his face. After his demon body had advanced to golden core, his confidence had soared. He believed that he should be able to travel through the Southern Empire without fear. But when he was killing Black Sky Demon, the Seven Slaughter Sect Master, Heaven Star Demon, had appeared, causing alarm bells to ring in his heart. No matter how many methods he had, he could only be rolled over by a nascent soul. He had already used a storm flow magic tool refined from the 108 strange fish teeth. If he encountered another nascent soul realm cultivator, even if he had the blood escape art, he still might not be able to escape. Of course, the number of nascent soul old monsters in the Southern Empire could be counted on one's fingers, and the chances of encountering one were extremely low. But this matter caused Chinyu to sober up and disperse the restlessness in his heart. After Golden Core was formed, there was still the Great Tao of Nascent Soul. And after the Great Tao of Nascent Soul, it was rumored that there were many mysterious boundaries. The long road of cultivation had only just begun. Chinyu began to go into seclusion. A month later, his golden core cultivation had completely stabilized. He impatiently left seclusion. There was no other reason for this. Once a pill-swallowing cultivator relied on themselves to cultivate, they simply wouldn't be able to withstand the tortoise-like speed. In particular, Chinyu's talent was trash to the extreme. With the Sky Thunder Bamboo in hand, he could clean up the impurities in pills. Even if his foundation wasn't stable, he could use the failure of his breakthrough to purify his magic power. Like this, Chinyu certainly wouldn't return on the road of pill swallowing. But soon, Chinyu fell into a predicament and had no choice but to stop his cultivation plan. The reason was simple. He had no more pills to eat. The little blue lamp could cultivate raw materials and purify pills. With such a heaven-defying treasure in hand, it was simply laughable to say that he didn't have any pills to eat. But this was the truth. It was true that the little blue lamp could accelerate the growth of spirit plants, but it could only release a foot of sea blue light, and the amount of spirit plants it could accelerate was extremely limited. The materials it could provide simply weren't enough to satisfy Chinyu's needs. And most importantly, in the cultivation world, golden core realm spirit plants were considered precious items. They were often used for their own use, so no one would recklessly sell them. Of course, exchanging pills for materials was absolutely possible. But if Chinyu really did this, he would immediately attract the attention of old nascent soul monsters and bring disaster upon himself. After thinking about it, Chinyu helplessly discovered that his only option was to buy seeds and become self-sufficient. After determining this, he bitterly smiled. If it was slow, then it was slow. Safety came first. Perhaps once he reached nascent soul, he wouldn't need to worry about this anymore. But with this speed, it was unknown just how long it would take for him to reach the nascent soul realm. Moreover, there was an invisible shackle on Chinyu's body. If he wanted to cultivate the great Tao of nascent soul, he would need to find an even more powerful drop of demon blood to help his demon body advance. 3 days later, Qin Yu poured magic power into the bamboo dragonfly and stepped out of the mountain valley. He stepped onto the road of buying golden core realm spirit plant seeds. Half a month later, Qin Yu's footprints covered the surrounding 10,000 miles. He had visited all the large cultivation cities, and his complexion became increasingly ugly. Golden core realm spirit plant seeds had nearly vanished from the market. Even if there was a small amount for sale, the price was still ridiculously high. The reason for this had already been discovered. The demonic path had invaded with monstrous arrogance, and the Southern Empire was in a precarious situation. The #1 immortal cultivation sect, Immortal Eclipse Valley, had interfered and declared that golden core realm spirit plants and seeds were strategic reserves that were not allowed to be privately traded. Qin Yu's final path had been blocked, but he was filled with anger and had nowhere to vent it. The reason Immortal Eclipse Valley was revered as the #1 immortal sect of the Southern Empire wasn't just because they were an alchemy giant, but also because there were countless powerhouses in the valley. It was rumored that there was more than one nascent soul-old monster. In a restaurant, Qin Yu sat in a corner. The more he thought about this, the more annoyed he became. Immortal Eclipse Valley really played a good trick this time. A person at a nearby table sneered. The complexions of the others changed. Brother Su, be quiet. The more people there are, the more ears there are. Don't speak nonsense. Be careful not to provoke disaster upon yourself. The cultivator, surnamed Su, sneered. What are you afraid of? Since Immortal Eclipse Valley has done this, why can't we talk about it? Trade in spirit plants and seeds has been completely banned. What strategic reserve? Isn't it just to make it easier for them to buy them at a lower price? This time Immortal Eclipse Valley has really made a killing. Humph! A cultivator at another table angrily sneered. What a greedy fool. If it weren't for Immortal Eclipse Valley taking action and providing pills to the Southern Empire's Cultivator Alliance, the war situation would have been even worse. I think this fellow Taoist Su is unhappy that his path to wealth was ruined. Bang! The cultivator, surnamed Su, slapped the table. Brat, what did you say? I said you were as stupid as a pig. Seeing that a fight was about to break out, the cultivators at the two tables immediately tried to dissuade them. They tried every possible way to drag the two away. In particular, the cultivator, surnamed Su, and the other cultivators at the table cursed inwardly. It was fine if you said something bad about Immortal Eclipse Valley, but you actually want to fight with them? Are you afraid that this matter isn't big enough, or that the news isn't spread out enough? If you want to die, then don't drag us down with you. With such a ruckus, the atmosphere in the restaurant became much warmer. Many rumors began to spread. Speaking of Immortal Eclipse Valley, I actually have a secret. The person who spoke deliberately lowered his voice, but it was hard for him to conceal the smug expression on his face. Seeing many people look over, he chuckled and said, in Immortal Eclipse Valley, there's a kind of guardian spirit beast. It is an ancient variation insect called the purple-back blue-wing ant. TCH, who doesn't know about this? You think I need to show off? What a waste of my time. There really is some secret. If you don't know anything, then don't speak. You're just inviting ridicule. The old man's face was flushed with shame. He angrily said, what do you know? I haven't finished speaking yet. You all know that Immortal Eclipse Valley has purple-back blue-wing ants. But do you know why they stay in Immortal Eclipse Valley? His eyes swept around. Seeing everyone stumped by his question, the old man sneered. That is because Immortal Eclipse Valley has a radiant redwood that has been passed down from ancient times. Do you know what a radiant redwood is? It is an ancient spirit plant that can automatically absorb the spiritual strength of the world and condense it into a radiant red fruit. Radiant red fruit. A radiant red fruit that can help a golden core cultivator cultivate? A cultivator cried out in alarm. The old man glanced over. Someone actually knows. That's right, to a golden core cultivator, it is a radiant red fruit that is even more precious than pills. This fruit contains a massive amount of heaven and earth spiritual strength. After swallowing it, One can directly increase their cultivation without any hidden dangers. Its value far surpasses the Cloud Rain pill used by Golden Core Realm cultivators. The restaurant fell silent for a moment before falling into chaos. Old man, please come to the table and drink a cup of wine. Little boy, hurry up and bring up some of your specialties. I want to invite this elder to drink some wine. Old friend, come to my table. Let's have a good chat. The old man grinned from ear to ear. He pretended to sit at the most sumptuous table and began to eat and drink to his heart's content. This person's mouth was quite fierce. His bragging reached the heavens, causing everyone in the restaurant to be stunned. Even when he wiped his mouth and left, they still tried to urge him to stay. Chinyu tossed down spirit stones to pay the bill and turned to go downstairs. Very soon, he appeared in a narrow alley and blocked the way. The old man frowned. Which family's junior is it that dares to block my way? Do you not want to live? With a cold shout, there was a bit of momentum to his words. Chinyu lightly said, I come from a mortal eclipse valley, so I am very interested in what you have to say. The old man's complexion changed. What nonsense! Do you know that pretending to be a cultivator of a mortal eclipse valley is a great crime? Chinyu sneered. His golden core cultivation erupted, covering the old man. You old thing, you dare to recklessly spread rumors? You must be tired of living. The old man slumped to the ground, kowtowing again and again. Senior, spare me. Senior, spare me. Chinyu shouted out, Speak. Where did you hear that a mortal eclipse valley has radiant redwood? If you speak half a lie, you will be stuck between life and death. The old man hurriedly said, It was a mysterious person who told me. He gave me some spirit stones to spread this news. Chinyu's eyes flashed. How do you know what he said is true? The old man said, The mysterious person showed me the radiant red fruit, and it is a true radiant red fruit. Although my cultivation is low, I have dealt with spirit plants for many years, so I have some eyesight. Chinyu thought for a moment and then sneered. Leave. I will let you go today, but if you dare to speak such nonsense again in the future, I will not forgive you. The old man was overjoyed. I won't dare. I won't dare. He hurried away. Chinyu rubbed his chin. Although he didn't know who was spreading news of the radiant redwood, there was an 80% chance it was true. Within the medicine codex, there were records of the radiant redwood, and the methods to cultivate it were also recorded in great detail. If he could obtain a derived root system of the radiant redwood, then he could use the little blue lamp to cultivate it until it matured and bloomed in a short period of time. At that time, the lack of pills for the Golden Core Realm would be easily solved. Moreover, Immortal Eclipse Valley also had the purple-back blue-wing ants, and his 2,000 gold mulberries had already evolved into Great Sun mulberries. Chinyu smiled. Immortal Eclipse Valley. Oh, Immortal Eclipse Valley. You prevented me from obtaining spirit plant seeds, so don't blame me for having ideas about you. Chapter 62. Genius 1, Second Remember if you want to go. Shoa, Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. The #1 immortal cultivation sect of the Southern Empire, Immortal Eclipse Valley. In all seriousness, this was the Southern Empire's cultivation world trying to flatter themselves. This was because Immortal Eclipse Valley was located at the border of the Southern Empire and Northern Dynasty, and even a larger portion of it was located within the Northern Dynasty. Love, Gobe, Small, say, Netku of course. The Southern Empire's cultivation world would never admit this. Immortal Eclipse Valley was the #1 immortal cultivation sect of the Southern Empire. If anyone dared to spout nonsense, they would be beaten to death. In particular, now that the demonic path was wreaking havoc in the Southern Empire and they had to rely on Immortal Eclipse Valley to barely stabilize the situation, it was even more necessary to tie both sides together. The core region of Immortal Eclipse Valley was indeed a mountain valley. The people of the Eclipse clan and the valley cultivators all lived here. But how could the title of the #1 immortal cultivation sect be taken lightly? Moreover, this was Immortal Eclipse Valley, a sect that dripped with oil and relied on pills to become rich. In the core region of the mountain valley, There were 17 mountains in a radius of 50 miles. They were all within the range of Immortal Eclipse Valley and were protected by a great mountain protecting array formation. Although the level of protection was far inferior to that of the core, it was still shocking enough. Just to maintain the operation of the formation, who knew how many spirit stones would be consumed every day? Currently, in the outer region of Immortal Eclipse Valley, a massive number of cultivators had gathered. Most of them came from within the borders of the Southern Empire, and had come here to avoid the slaughter of the demonic path. Of course, cultivators needed to pay a fee of spirit stones and also pass the inspection of Immortal Eclipse Valley in order to prevent spies of the demonic path from sneaking in. The Immortal Eclipse Valley disciple stopped. He turned and said, "Go in yourself and choose a stone house to live in. This place is a jumble of fish and dragons, so don't casually walk around lest you stir up trouble. Remember, within the scope of my Immortal Eclipse Valley, cultivators are strictly forbidden from killing each other." His expression was indifferent and slightly arrogant, but he had done his best to make these arrangements. His actions were not too overbearing, and he had his own bearing. The black-robed youth cupped his hands together. "Many thanks." The disciples of Immortal Eclipse Valley turned and left. He stood up and looked in front of him. This was a flat land halfway up the mountain with many simple stone houses built around it. This was one of the places where Immortal Eclipse Valley arranged for outside cultivators. Standing here and looking into the distance, one could see a mountain valley surrounded by clouds and mist. Pavilions, terraces, and palaces were faintly discernible. Occasionally, the light of a formation would flash, and the vast and majestic aura was astonishing. His eyes flashed. The black-robed youth whispered, "Immortal Eclipse Valley is indeed extraordinary." This youth was Qin Yu, who had restrained his aura and hidden his cultivation. The aura-restraining law formula and aura-restraining jade pendant that Ning Ling had given him were increasingly extraordinary. To be able to block the senses of a nascent soul cultivator wasn't just empty talk. It was just that the jade pendant was still there, but the beautiful woman had already perished. Qin Yu's complexion darkened, revealing a bit of disappointment. Several people arrived. One of them, a young and naive-looking female cultivator, saw Qin Yu and said in a low voice, "Senior apprentice sister, look, it's that person." The senior frowned and glanced over. "Who is it? I don't know him." The immature female cultivator anxiously said, "It's the person we met in the nameless valley when we were hiding from the great demon. It's him, I can't be wrong." The senior apprentice sister looked at it seriously and shook her head. "So what if it's him? We don't know each other at all, so why are you making a fuss?" The young female cultivator stuck out her tongue. Her cute and innocent appearance caused the eyes of the several men around her to brighten. This Qin Yu was a bit displeasing to the eye. Where did this brat come from? He could actually make junior apprentice Sister Qi care about him so much. He should hurry up and screw off as far as he could. Qi Jiao looked at Qin Yu. The sadness on his face caused her heart to tremble. Was he thinking of someone he loved? How pitiful. She suddenly had an impulse. Before she could regain her composure, she found herself standing in front of him. She looked into his eyes and blushed. She said in a small voice, "The dead cannot be resurrected. My condolences." Qin Yu was startled. He cupped his hands across his chest. "Thank you, miss, but do we know each other?" Qi Jiao shook her head. 3 years ago, senior apprentice sister, and I met you in a valley. But at the time you were immersed in your sorrow, so you shouldn't have noticed us. 3 years ago, that should have been when Ning Ling's accident occurred." Looking at the young woman in front of him, Qin Yu felt a bit of warmth in his heart. He smiled and said, "Thank you, miss, for enlightening me. I'm fine now." Qi Jiao's face turned even redder. She clenched her fists together. She suddenly discovered that Qin Yu's eyes were dark and bright, and his smile left her flustered. The senior apprentice sister glanced at the several gloomy senior apprentice brothers and junior apprentice brothers, and then at the oblivious Qi Jiao. She couldn't help but bitterly smile. If things continued like this, she would only stir up more trouble for him. She stepped forwards and said, "Junior apprentice sister, we still have matters to attend to. We'll be leaving." Chi Jiao regained her composure. "Oh, I'm coming, senior apprentice sister." She waved her hand. Her lips moved, but in the end she didn't say anything. Several men swept their eyes over Qinyu, but they didn't have any reason to make things difficult for him. They could only curse inwardly. "You brat, your luck is good." Qinyu smiled. He ran in the opposite direction of the several people. The mountainside area was already mostly filled with people. Many of them were from the same sect, clan, or acquaintances. As they gathered together, there was a great hubbub of voices. In the open space between the stone houses, there should have been a trading market that had spontaneously formed. Many people had set up stalls, shouting and bargaining. It was incomparably lively. But while it was lively, it wasn't too beautiful to live in. Those who came early were clearly aware of this and had moved away from this area. Thus, when Xinyu had to choose, he could only choose the ownerless stone houses around the market. He shook his head and casually chose one. At least it would broaden his horizons, and it would also be convenient to buy and sell things. Well, this was purely to comfort himself. The things in the trading market had long since become useless to him. After cleaning up the stone house and making sure there wasn't anything wrong with it, Qinyu rested for 2 hours. Then, he pushed open the door and stepped into the market. Indeed, he didn't have any interest in the things inside. But as a little fourth-level foundation establishment cultivator, wouldn't it be strange if he didn't feel moved upon seeing such a lively trading market? Of course, perhaps no one would notice Qinyu's performance from start to finish. But it was always better to be cautious. This was Immortal Eclipse Valley. He strolled left, strolled right, haggling over the price. With a satisfactory price, he bought several good things. Just as he was about to leave with a satisfied smile, he caught sight of a rusty scabbard in the corner of his eye. A fluctuation spread out from his storage bag. Qinyu's heart stirred, but he maintained his composure. He squatted down and carefully looked at it. Behind the stall, Chi Jiao was pleasantly surprised. But she was also a bit shy. Her hands were twisted together, a bit at a loss as to what to do. Why did he come? Was it because of me? If he spoke to me, what would I do? Her honorable master said that there were many bad people in this world, and there were few good people. Her honorable master must be right, but could he be a bad person? It didn't seem like it. His smile was so warm. As Chi Jiao's head was spinning, the several men around her who were trying to curry favor with her had faces as black as the bottom of a pot. They clenched their teeth. Qinyu looked up. "Fellow Taoist, how much are these things?" He pointed at the rusty scabbard. But soon, he revealed a stunned expression. "It's you? Pretend. Keep pretending." The several men had looks of disdain. No matter how good a brat's best actor-level performance was, there was no way he could escape their fiery eyes. To dare have ideas about junior apprentice Sister Qi, he was simply seeking death. Chi Jiao was a bit disappointed. Do you want to buy something?" Qinyu hesitated for a moment. He lifted a hand and pointed. "The truth is that I only want to buy this scabbard. How much are you willing to sell it to me?" He didn't want to lie to her. Chi Jiao's eyes brightened. "I inadvertently found this scabbard in the mud of a river. Because it was a bit hard, I kept it, so it isn't worth much at all. You can take it." The eyes of the several men around her turned red. Why was this boy favored by junior apprentice Sister Qi? Whether it was appearance, cultivation, or bearing, how could he compare to them? "Junior apprentice Sister Qi," a man hurriedly said, "we can't compare to the sect now. All sorts of expenses are great, and in addition, High Master is in need of spirit stones." Another person nodded. "Senior apprentice Brother Li is right. Since we have a chance to earn spirit stones, we can't miss it." He coldly glanced over. "Moreover, this is a transaction between you. If he wants the scabbard, it's normal for him to compensate with spirit stones." Qinyu nodded. "You two are right. Miss Qi, please state your price." "Miss Qi, I'm Qi your head. Why are you calling me so intimately? Aren't you familiar with our junior apprentice, Sister Qi?" Senior apprentice Brother Li coldly sneered. "Although we don't know what sort of treasure junior apprentice Sister Qi's scabbard is, it is incomparably hard and the material it's made of is extraordinary. Isn't 100 spirit stones not too much? As he spoke, he fiercely glared at Chinyu. Brat, if you dare to have designs on junior apprentice Sister Chi, then I'll teach you a lesson. 100 spirit stones. To a foundation establishment cultivator, that was a sky-high price. Chinyu hesitated for a moment and then slowly nodded. All right. Senior apprentice Brother Lee's sneer froze on his face. He turned his head, wanting to see if he had heard wrong. He saw that the several junior apprentice brothers beside him also had stunned expressions. 100 spirit stones. He had stated a price of 100 spirit stones, and they had actually agreed. They had agreed just like that. The several men's complexions darkened. Another person coughed and said, Senior apprentice Brother Lee, I seem to have heard High Master mention that this scabbard is quite extraordinary. 100 spirit stones seems too low. He restrained his thoughts and cupped his hands together towards Chi Jiao, put away the scabbard, and left. Returning to the stone house, he took out several array discs and arranged them in a corner. They didn't have a strong defensive strength, but they were enough to conceal his aura. If someone were to spy on him, they would be able to give him a timely warning and allow him to respond. With a flick of his sleeves, there was a flash of light, and the scabbard appeared once more. Beside, it was a black dagger. This was the one he obtained in the land of sealed demons. The black dagger cried out as if it were cheering. It flew out on its own and returned to the scabbard. As a layer of dark light appeared, the rust on the surface of the scabbard began to wriggle. Gradually, it turned into a thick and deep black color mixed with specks of blood. Icy cold, cold, fiendish, violent, and all sorts of other auras emitted from the black dagger, as if it were slowly awakening from a deep slumber. Chapter 63. Genius 1, Second Remember Love, Go Away. This is the web that provides you with wonderful novels to read. Qin Yu's complexion changed. A bone-chilling aura broke in his body and rushed straight towards his mind. Worry, fear, despair, all sorts of emotions flooded his mind. Memories that he didn't want to recall in the depths of his mind were all dug out. All of this formed a terrifying psychological impact. If one's will was weak, they would fall into chaos and eventually self-destruct. Sweat seeped out from his pores, soaking his black robes. Qin Yu's eyes turned blood red, but his face remained indifferent. Humph! You want to shake my mind with just this? Get out of here. A golden core realm cultivator's divine sense erupted, crushing apart the cold aura and clearing his mind. With a flick of his finger, a bead of blood fell onto the black sword. It trembled and surged with black light, as if it were resisting. Qin Yu narrowed his eyes and sneered. If I can bring you out from the land of sealed demons, I can also send you beyond redemption. Think about it carefully. The black sword whimpered. It absorbed the bead of blood and fell into Qin Yu's hand. 100 Nether Sword, a demonic artifact that can devour essence and souls to evolve. So, when the short sword and scabbard combined together, this demonic artifact would be complete. Moreover, the ability to evolve at the end could be called priceless. If there was a lucky chance in the future that helped it become a spirit treasure, its might would reach an inconceivable boundary. It was absolutely a wonderful treasure. Although it was extremely difficult to upgrade a spirit treasure, there was at least a good chance right now. Just based on this alone, the value of the black sword was inestimable. If so, then he would owe this surname Qi a favor. Qin Yu put away the black sword. In Immortal Eclipse Valley, he had to be careful in everything. The reason he was hiding here was because he was waiting for a chance to attack. For the next several days, Qin Yu lived in seclusion and didn't appear too conspicuous. The attention that he attracted when he bought the scabbard with 100 spirit stones also gradually faded away. Although he didn't leave his dwelling halfway up the mountain, Qin Yu carefully observed and found that Immortal Eclipse Valley was much more heavily guarded than before. From time to time, there would be disciples patrolling in and out. Without a doubt, News of the Radiant Red would have begun to spread. And as he thought, it didn't take long for news of the Radiant Red would to spread throughout the mountain. Chinyu knew that the chance he was waiting for was about to arrive. But the more he did so, the more he kept a low profile. He appeared every day, but soon returned without revealing anything. On his 9th day, in Immortal Eclipse Valley, Chinyu went out as usual. There were more and more people staying in the surrounding stone houses. Schwa. Many eyes gathered on them. Senior apprentice Brother Lee's eyes flashed with panic before he sneered. It was clearly you who bullied my junior apprentice sister because she was young and ignorant and sold her fake goods. Now you're trying to blame us instead? How preposterous. I'm telling you, hurry up and return my junior apprentice sister's spirit stones. Otherwise, we won't be polite anymore. That's right. Don't speak any nonsense. Hurry up and return the spirit stones. You dare bully our junior apprentice sister Chi? How bold. Do you really think we're easy to bully? The several people behind him began to shout. The purple-robed man coldly sneered. I think you all came here to deliberately cause trouble, right? You don't even have a single spirit stone to return. I can't do anything to little girls, but you little bastards want to overturn the heavens. Schwa. The several people behind the stall all stood up, but everyone's eyes fell onto the purple-robed man. The aura of an early golden core was simply too dazzling. No one thought that this middle-aged man who had been explaining was actually a golden core cultivator. Senior apprentice Brother Lee and the others were left dumbfounded. The audience's stance suddenly changed. Just what sort of status does a golden core realm senior have? How could he lower himself to sell fake goods? That's right, that's right. A mere 100 spirit stones isn't necessary at all. It looks like these youths are deliberately lying to deceive others. But their luck is too bad. They actually managed to provoke a golden core senior. This girl doesn't seem like it. You really can't judge a book by its cover. Pity and sympathy towards beautiful women, that was all to hell. They all stood firmly on the side of the golden core realm. The purple-robed man sneered. You all must give me an explanation for today's matter. After being forced to reveal his cultivation to resolve the situation, no matter how good his temper was, he was still angry. Senior apprentice Brother Lee's face flushed red. He had spoken too much just now and couldn't turn around. He looked at Chi Jiao for help, repeatedly hinting for her to apologize. A golden core wasn't anything in Immortal Eclipse Valley, but to them, it was an insurmountable mountain. In particular, the only master in their sect was heavily injured and was currently recuperating. They didn't dare to provoke him. Chi Jiao's face flushed red. She knew that she shouldn't offend a golden core powerhouse, but she hadn't lied, so why should she apologize? Grievance, shame, anxiety, helplessness gathered in her heart. She lifted a hand to wipe away her tears, but she couldn't wipe them clean. I'm sorry. The purple-robed man's face flashed with unwillingness. But no matter how good the temper of a golden core cultivator was, he still had his own dignity. He had just asked them for an explanation, so how could they suddenly agree not to pursue the matter? But this girl looked far too sad. He couldn't bear to see her like this. Miss Chi, please let me have a look at this bottle of condensed jade dew. As he spoke, Chinyu had already walked over to her side. Many people still remembered the struggle for the scabbard several days ago. They immediately recognized him, but after a moment of surprise, they revealed helpless expressions. Indeed, for the sake of a woman, he was nothing but a hot-headed youth. He was already stupid enough to bid 100 spirit stones that day, but now he actually provoked a golden core on his own initiative. This young man had no sense of propriety at all. As Chi Jiao saw Chinyu, she inexplicably felt at ease. Her grievances erupted for no reason at all, and she began to cry. I didn't lie. I really didn't. Chinyu took the jade bottle and opened it. He sniffed it and said, "This bottle of condensed jade dew will deteriorate within 8 hours." As he spoke, he looked up at the purple-robed cultivator. The middle-aged man didn't know why, but he followed along and said, "It's been almost 16 hours since the transaction was completed yesterday." Qin nodded. "Miss Qi, when did you hand over the condensed jade due?" Qi Jiao sobbed. "I gave it to senior apprentice brother Li not long after I bought it. After the young girl bought it. She gave it to senior apprentice brother Li. As for the time it took for the condensed jade due to deteriorate, it was 8 hours. If so, then the problem clearly lay with this senior apprentice brother Li." Facing the questioning gazes of the crowd, senior apprentice brother Li became even more flustered. He angrily said, "What nonsense are you spouting? 8 hours? How do you know it was 8 hours? I'm warning you, don't speak nonsense." Qin Yu had a calm expression. "This is a mortal eclipse valley. There are countless alchemy masters in the valley. If I ask someone, I'll naturally know if it's true or false." Shwa, shwa. Figures flashed, and 3 immortal eclipse valley disciples appeared. "Who is causing trouble here?" The purple-robed cultivator cupped his hands together. "3 fellow Taoists, this matter is related to me. I apologize for disturbing you." The 3 people bowed in return. "Greetings, Senior Wei." Even Immortal Eclipse Valley had to give Golden Core cultivators the respect they deserved. A disciple said, "Senior Wei, may I ask what happened?" Wei Jing briefly explained what happened. He lifted a hand and pointed. "Condensed jade dew isn't too precious, so I can appraise it." An Immortal Eclipse Valley disciple reached out a hand. "Let me have a look." Qin Yu handed over the jade bottle. The Immortal Eclipse Valley disciple sniffed it and then poured some into his hand. He fiddled with it a few times and nodded. "That's right. It was indeed 8 hours ago." There is still an extremely small amount of medicinal efficacy left over. His eyes fell on Qin Yu. "Fellow Taoist, you have good eyesight." Qin Yu cupped his hands together. "I just happen to understand a bit. I don't dare to show off in front of an expert." The Immortal Eclipse Valley cultivator smiled. He turned and said, "Senior Wei, how do you want to deal with this?" Wei Jing fell silent. Senior apprentice brother Li was dripping with sweat, and his face was deathly pale. Qi Jiao was annoyed that senior apprentice brother Li had lied to her. But in the end, they were from the same sect, and he was in dire straits. She couldn't bear to see something happen to him. But with things having come this far, it was already rare for her to be able to stand on her own. So how could she help him? She looked at Qin Yu. This was only a helpless girl's subconscious reaction. She simply didn't want Qin Yu to fall into trouble. Not at all. Then, she saw Qin Yu think for a moment and take a step forwards. Qi Jiao's eyes widened. "What did you want to do? Don't be an idiot. Hurry up and leave." Qin Yu cupped his hands together. "Senior Wei, today's mistake was all on us. I ask that great master be magnanimous and not pursue this matter any further." When the senior apprentice sister heard the news, she had hurried over. As she heard these words, her complexion darkened. "At this time, you should be lowering your head and begging for forgiveness. Just who did you think you were? If you angered a Golden Core senior, that would be troublesome." "Greetings, senior." Junior apprentice sister and several junior apprentice brothers were ignorant and have offended senior. "Please forgive us. We are willing to offer up some spirit stones as compensation. I ask that senior be magnanimous and forgive us this time." Wei Jing glanced at her and then at Qin Yu. He waved his hand. "Forget it. Just consider today a misunderstanding. You can all leave. Double monthly ticket if you think this chapter is wonderful. Then please support it. You can also vote for a monthly ticket. 100 cross-stock coins for a monthly ticket, 500 cross-stock coins for a monthly ticket, 10,000 cross-stock coins for a monthly ticket, 100,000 cross-stock coins for a monthly ticket to be the Alliance Master. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.